All right, what's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Rambling Men Sports Podcast. This is a special show for me. It is a collision of worlds, so to speak. I have people who have been on the show before, my good friend Chaz and my good friend Steven here, but Steven from my hometown, Chaz from my college days. That's what I mean by a clash of worlds. But how are you gentlemen doing this evening?
Terrific.
Great, man. Can't wait to get into this.
Terrific.
Yep. So I should have mentioned that before I introduced you guys. We are doing a solely Game of Thrones show. I got my uniform on, the House Stark shirt. Steven has his shirt. I don't think Chaz has a shirt on, though.
I do not.
He's just rocking the robe. He's fine.
He's got a great robe, though.
He's comfortable.
Great robe. But yeah. So what we're going to be doing today, since a new trailer didn't come out, I'm very disappointed about that. I was expecting a second trailer. So we're mostly just going to talk about, we're going to start things off with our favorite just memories of the show since it's about to be the final season. Starts on Sunday. And then we're going to get into like the theories and predictions for the upcoming season. But let's go ahead and start with some of our favorite memories of the show. I'm going to hand it off to you guys. Favorite episode?
Go ahead, buddy.
Yeah, mine's easy. Season 5, Episode 8, Hard Home, is my favorite.
Huh.
I don't know why either.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's an episode. There's a few episodes like this, and The Spoils of War is one of them for me, where it has a great ending, but overall the episode's just, you know, it's pretty good, but like it had a great ending, and now everyone's like, oh, it's like one of the best, you know, episodes ever. I don't think it is.
It's real in that episode. I don't know why. I love it.
It's really good for sure. I mean, that ending is, yeah.
The ending is the last probably. What is it?
The last 20 minutes,
20 minutes are fantastic.
Phenomenal.
And then you got that just, it don't beat the stare down. The very first stare down between the two.
Yeah. But, like, that's awesome, but I really like the, like, the scene before that, where they're, like, in the, you know, the elders have gathered, and they're just, like, talking, and you got the Thins and that random lady, and Tormund is being awesome, and Ryan is going
randomly
nuts.
hot wildling.
Yeah, just like unnecessarily hot, like with the kids and all that. Like it's just super interesting because there's like obviously super fanatical and like awesome battle scene, but like there's a lot of kind of politics and maneuvering and stuff like that too. So it's like kind of the best of both that Thrones does, for me at least. I don't, you know.
Chaz, what about you?
Mine's probably exactly what yours is. Mine's, I would say probably without a question, it's season 6, episode 9. Battle of the Bastards is about as good as it gets for me. You got a story within it too. It's basically Jon and them coming back home, you know what I mean? He fights in the very end. He fights Ramsay and then in where he grew up at, you know what I mean? He's righting all the wrongs, basically, for what has happened to his sister and the rest of his family. His brother being betrayed, even though his brother did the wrong thing by marrying a foreign woman, but his mom is...
I'm so glad you said that, Chaz.
Yeah, but he didn't deserve to be slaughtered for it.
One of the ongoing debates between Chaz and myself for years has been Robb Stark and his death. Chaz for years held the opinion that he did the right thing marrying for love, and I've always said, no, son, he broke his vows. He should have married the Frey girl if he wanted to stay alive.
But did he deserve for his wife and their baby to be stabbed right before she was born and him be slaughtered along with his family? I don't think that was deserving, but I mean... But anyway, regardless, it's basically it's basically us getting a little bit of relief by Ramsay getting, you know what I mean, getting
a little bit of factor.
Yeah, and even though it's rough, they even still make you think at one time, whenever before the Knights of the Vale get there, that Jon, even when Jon's getting trampled, I mean, you're like, oh my gosh, here we go, and then kind of like how you talked about his kind of a little bit of his second resurrection in a way, or his
that is, in my opinion, and I think it's very obvious, that is his true rebirth. Is that moment when he comes up out of the crowd in the middle of the battle. Because even before that, he was back, but he wasn't fully back. He always acted a little different than John usually did. And that moment, since that moment, he's pretty much been the same old John that we've known. But yeah, I would agree with you, Chaz. That is by far my favorite episode of Battle of the Bastards. That's a moment I had waited at least 3 years for. A very long 3 years. Just for the Starks to take over Winterfell again. That was the moment I had been waiting for so long. And when it came to life, it was truly incredible.
I think it's super cool, too, that fight between John and Randy took place in the courtyard of Winterfell, where, like, he and Rob and Theon and Bran, like, all of them were, like, learned everything. I think that's a pretty cool callback to, like, the first episode.
Yeah.
I remember, sorry, Shane. I was just going to say, we all probably watched the episode behind the...
I was just about to say.
Dave and Dan mentioned how whenever it came to this battle, that they thought after writing it that it's for Winterfell overall, and they wanted John to actually do his damage to Ramsay in his own home. They thought that it meant more to see it that way. Obviously, it was way better to see it that way.
Sure.
Chaz, I need you to speak up.
Can you hear me now?
No, I can. We can hear you, but the people might not be able to when we air this.
Okay.
Just speak up. I mean, I think the microphone's fine. Just speak up.
Okay. Yeah, but you want me to re-say what I said, or
no? I think we're okay. I mean,
okay,
we got the gist. Favorite moment of the show, whether that's a scene or anything.
Oh boy.
I might even have to think about this one.
Yeah, that one's tough.
It's probably still to come. I'm waiting on all four Starks to enjoy a hot meal in Winterfell.
Obviously. As of now, I got two.
Two? Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, the first one is the reunion between Jon and Sansa. I love that. I love that scene.
Yeah.
That scene still to this day is still one of my very favorites. I watch it a lot.
It's so powerful, even though there's zero dialogue for the most part.
Yeah. It's just the body expression and the emotion, just the facial expression. But also, dude, the reunion or the joining of Ice and Fire, man. Him and Dany for the very first time walking in, him walking in Dragonstone and stuff. But I could go on and on, but those are two that kind of stick out to me.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah, those are two good ones. Boy, like mine, the one that's sticking out in my head is, and I couldn't tell you the episode, but it's the first meeting between Tyrion and Dany in the fighting pits. Jorah brings the gift, Yeah. And like that's kind of like the first time you see both storylines kind of begin to meld together.
Yep, you're 100% right about that.
As Danny's been on the other side of the world getting things taken care of over there while everything's going on in Westeros. And then Tyrion does his thing, escapes from King's Landing, goes over to Essos with Varys and drinks himself damn near to death. And at that, almost they get captured by slavers. It's like Jorah Mormont gets grayscale. Like all these things, all these bad things happen, and then it finally works out that they're at the right they're at the right fighting pit, and like that, those two things melding together. I think that's really cool.
One thing, I don't know if you guys watched them. I think Chaz did, and I know I did. The Cast Remembers series from HBO this week. You did watch it? Okay.
Watched a bit of it.
A little bit. The Peter Dinklage one was very interesting, and he made a good point where his character, for the most part, maybe has interacted with 95% of the cast.
Yeah.
And I do think that's really interesting.
And Theon, I guess.
Don't you dare shake your head at me, Chaz.
I'm the one person who gets annoyed with Tyrion. I think he's the most overrated character.
That's blasphemous, sir.
So that's just a horrible take.
Everybody thinks that dude is the best character, and it gets annoying. I mean, Tyrion, Peter Dinklage did a fantastic job playing him. It's just, I don't know. I think
that may be the worst Game of Thrones take I've ever heard. Is that Tyrion Lannister's overrated? I remember when you told me that. You read it on some Reddit page, probably, and got hooked on it, and you've said it ever since, and I'm annoyed with you.
Just remember that. He tried to help Joffrey keep the throne. Just remember that.
Because it was his duty with his family.
He was the hand of the king.
He was the head of the king. What are you supposed to do?
It was the wrong duty.
Oh, give me a fucking break.
He ain't wrong, but still
he's not wrong, but my favorite moment.
I just don't like Tyrion as much, but I mean Tyrion. He's alright.
There's so many great moments. I would say definitely the Stark reunion at Castle Black. I'm really looking forward to that in the books because I think that's going to take place at Winterfell, not at Castle Black.
But should be coming from the Vale, right?
Yeah, I think they're going to meet up at Winterfell.
Technically, yeah, and well,
yeah, we won't get too deep into that. This is solely about the show.
Yeah, don't kill the books.
I'll tell you what. One moment I really love is Tyrion and Bronn when he's in the dungeon.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And he asks him to be his, champion for a trial by combat. Bronn says no, and on his way out, he asks him, "What will you do?" And Tyrion says, "I suppose I'll have to defeat the mountain myself. Won't that make for a great song?" And Bronn responds, "I hope to hear them sing it one day." And he leaves. I think that's such a great moment because that is truly that's pretty much Tyrion's last, hope is Bronn. Because Jaime already turned him down. In his mind it is. Jaime turned him down, Bronn turned him down. That's all he had. Varys betrayed him. And then obviously Oberyn Martell comes in to save the day. But save the day, but...
Me and you talk about this. I guess it really isn't a favorite. It's more of a funny... Dude, when Bronn is in Dorne, obviously in the books that don't happen, but when he's in Dorne and he's singing the Dornishman's wife in the cell.
Dude, I text you the lyrics. I text you the lyrics to that all the time. I've tasted the Dornishman's wife.
Can we talk about the actor that plays Bronn? What a beautiful singing voice he has.
Jerome Flynn's
Jerome Flynn, what a great scene. Because he sings Ramsay Castamere before the Battle of Blackwater. He sings on the road to the ear, the first what a great singing voice he has. Good for Jerome.
If he were better looking, he might be a singer. But he does a great job playing him. There's no better. I don't think better's not the right word. There's no character in the show that is not overplayed, just that has a bigger role in the show than they do in the books than Bronn, and that's because of Jerome Flynn playing him so well.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Other favorite moments, I don't really have one. Those two just come up off the top of my head. This kind of goes hand in hand, but favorite sequence. This could be a fight scene, a scene with no dialogue, anything.
Mine is a scene with no dialogue, and it's super morbid. It's more from a showrunner, the way it's filmed and set type of favorite. It's season 6, episode 10. The sequence of it's just Cersei in her room blowing up the Sept of Baelor. I think that's set so well.
Yes.
And shot so cool.
And it's not just her; it's everyone getting up and getting ready for the day.
That whole sequence is so cool.
That's a really good one, actually. I didn't thought about that, Chaz.
I would say probably that. I even read something I think yesterday that Dave and Dan were talking that might be. They didn't say it was their specific favorite. They don't have one, but they said that a sequence, I guess, when they were asked the question that really stuck out to them was the blow up of the Sept. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so cool.
They were talking about how he said just the tone on Cersei's face when she drinks the wine, the wind,
and the music. And it's
music, everything.
It's perfect.
Favorite sequence? I'll tell you one I like. Those two y'all just gave were really good. Or no, Chaz, you didn't really give one, did you?
Nah, I don't know if really I specifically probably have a very favorite.
One I really like, two I really like, and their battle sequences is the opening of. Oh no, I got it right now. Battle of the Bastards. When John charges and his horse gets shot down, and he's at. I don't know how I forgot about this. He's watching the cavalry come in, and he undoes his sword, unsheathes it, and gets ready. And
memeable moment from Game of Thrones so far. It's like everything coming at John, and he's just standing there.
That's the best sequence. I can't believe we talk about this and share this all the time. Me and you, Shane. That's my favorite right there.
Yeah, I don't know how I even forgot about that. But yeah, and what makes that so powerful is that those are real horses charging at Kit Harington. Like, there's not like.
Yeah,
it's not fake at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's incredible.
He does all his own stunts too.
Does he really? I respect Kit.
I read that in an interview.
Another one, again from the same episode, is when it kind of follows him through the first 30 seconds of the Battle of the Bastards, and it just shows what a medieval battle is like.
Kind of pinballing around.
Horses flying, arrows flying in. Men killing each other. Just kind of shows how lucky he was. How lucky he gets. That's one, and then the similar one with Braun during the train. Is it the train loot battle? I forget what it's called.
Fire 2.0.
Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Where it just kind of follows him, and he's trying to avoid, getting killed, and fires everywhere. There's Dothraki everywhere, and he's just trying.
Yeah, that was cool to see it through his point of view. Like we were just talking, like most of the battles, obviously all the battles John's in. Obviously, Hardhome, it's through his point of view. Battle of the Bastards, mostly it's his point of view. It was cool to see that through Jamie's, I guess, towards some, and also Braun's as well.
That's one thing that Thrones does too. Like, I mean, you think about the big battles that they've really done. In Blackwater, you get Davos's point of view and Tyrion's like that's pretty much it. And then
Sansa a little bit, but it's not really in the battle yet.
Like, I mean, and that's like kind of their thing is like when they do make battle sequences, which I think is so cool. Instead of focusing on the battle as a whole, they kind of single out major players and follow them kind of interspersed throughout telling the story of the battle, and that's really cool.
Yeah, and that's what's going to make this Battle of Winterfell episode this season so interesting is that there's so many major characters. Especially, I'm going to enjoy reading that because, that's going to take up probably easily 200 to 300 pages, and it's all going to be through like 8 to 10 different point of views.
Yeah,
I would imagine so, at least.
Yeah. They said in the interview I read the other day with Dave and Dan that it's going to be, you're going to see it through like 20 different people's points. It's not going to be obviously John and probably like if Danny's in it and stuff like that will have most of the, but you'll see it through Jamie's, you'll see it through Brienne's, you'll see it through Arya's, maybe Bronn, Jorah, all that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Favorite quote?
I drink it, I know things.
That's a good one.
Sarah put it on a cooler. She made a cooler.
That's a good one. Chaz, you got one?
I do that one.
You want to keep thinking about it? Because I kind of have one.
Go ahead.
Well, the one thing to use a quote that you say, Steven, I'm a purist when it comes to quotes. I don't like responses because usually responses need interpretation. Like, what did they mean when he said this? You got to go to the previous quote. I like stuff that is just one-liner, kind of pretty much. And when I think about this, I think, there's great responses in just about all the Game of Thrones seasons and great lines. But the one that really stands out to me comes in the very first episode between Tyrion and Jon. And Tyrion says, "Never forget what you are, the rest of the world will not. Wear it like armor, it can never be used against you." I think that's, one, it's great life advice. I mean, it's great life advice. Basically, just says don't worry about other people think of you.
I like that a lot.
I really don't have a favorite quote, to be honest.
Dude, you send me quotes almost every day.
Well, I mean, I don't have a favorite. I have some that I like.
Well, say some.
Well, like the first one that popped in my head is John. The trinity don't wait out the storm. Trust me, friend. The trinity don't wait out the storm. He brings the storm.
That's a good one.
I love that. I love that one. I love the one that you hear in the trailer where he's saying our enemy doesn't tire, doesn't stop, doesn't feel. I love that.
I'm really hoping that's like his pre-battle speech.
Do we see John is giving a battle speech? I'd love to see it. Do you think we get one?
I don't think so.
Yeah, he's never been that kind of leader.
He's not vocal. He's lead by action.
Yeah.
Alistair Thorne was the vocal leader. Night's Watch, and and John was not. I mean, he was lead by action, so I don't see that at all.
Yeah, I have to agree, unfortunately. And same with Tyrion. I mean, Tyrion's not really a man of action. He's a man that motivates people. Like in the Blackwater episode. And, again, Watchers on the Wall, like you said, Alistair Thorne has
probably my second favorite quote is, "Those are brave men in Odor.
Yep.
Let's go kill them."
Let's go kill them. Alistair Thorne, in my opinion, probably has the line of the Watchers on the Wall episode where he says, "When the sun rises tomorrow, Castle Black will stand."
Yeah,
I love that line. That gives me chills.
Actually, we say at the time is both of the Arya quotes at the twins. When she kills Walter Frey and them.
Oh yeah.
Leave one wolf alive and the sheep are never safe.
Okay.
People ask you, tell them the North remembers. Tell them that winter came, and winter came for House Frey.
That's a really good one, but again, it needs some interpretation. Like, what do you mean by wolf? What do you mean by sheep?
Okay, what about?
Again, that's just my opinion. Y'all can love that quote. I love that quote. It's just it needs interpretation.
This would be the end of one of the sequences on the end of Heaven of season 7. When the snows fall and the white winds blow, the lone wolf dies.
That's another classic. I'll tell you. I mean, my favorite quotes in the book, I think, are both by Ned Stark. Technically, they're spoken by other people, but they're quoting him. One is John saying, again, I know I said we wouldn't talk about the books, but I'm going to anyway. One is from John saying, "There's no shame and fear. My father told me what matters is how we face it."
Yeah.
The other one is from Bran, and he says, "How can a man be brave if he's afraid?" And then Ned Stark responds, "That's the only time a man can be brave."
Be brave, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably both my favorite lines in the books.
I like that one a lot.
Yep. Favorite... I already talked about this on Twitter this week. Favorite character arc?
Tyrion.
Tyrion, really?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at Tyrion, kind of book and show, early he kind of shitty. I mean, he doesn't care about a whole lot. He's, a lecherous little something or other. There's, he...
Ill-made, spiteful little creature full of envy, lust, and low cunning.
Yeah, that. Exactly.
That's what Chaz thinks of him.
Turns into probably the smartest and, I guess, most... not thoughtful, but, like the character that thinks about the whole situation best.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tyrion really shows. I think that's the best arc. I mean, he's apathetic to everything at the beginning. He just wants to go piss off the wall, and he
that's hilarious.
Rises to the hand of the queen, and that his family hates. That he now truly believes in. I mean, it's a long way from the first time we see him is in the brothel in Wintertown.
Yeah.
And now he's the hand of the queen to a queen that's got 80% of Westeros behind her, pretty much.
For now.
Yeah.
For now.
That will quickly dwindle, but
Chaz, I think we're both gonna have the same one here because we both talked about it.
100%.
And it's odd we say this, but they're both Lannisters. All three of us have Lannisters. By far, I think my favorite character arc is Jaime Lannister.
So Jaime was my second.
Yeah, Jaime's
I don't think there's a character in the show that has changed more than Jaime Lannister over the course of the series.
Yep, same here. I love Jaime.
He's gone. God damn it.
That I actually agree with. I like Tyrion's more.
Yeah.
As an arc itself.
I mean, Tyrion's the glue of the show.
Going from like from point A to point B, like the biggest change, 100% is Jaime.
Yeah. Hang on, I got some dead skin from my weekend at Bristol. I'm getting off.
That's awfully.
But no. Jaime just has gone from.
You just think from the very first episode, you see him how much of a
his character is in his first shot.
When
the
he
hair
takes off
flip.
his helmet and flips his hair.
The hair flip, like that was him. The Bryce Harper hair flip.
Hey.
He's gone.
We love the Bryce Harper hair flip.
Oh, I know. No, I'm not bashing it. Just that's Jaime though. But he's gone from like arrogant, just kind of douche. I mean, not very many people liked him.
Just the best way to explain it. For sure.
I couldn't stand him at first.
To be fair, I did go into it knowing that he had a character change.
I didn't.
So I already kind of liked him, but even then, I look back and hey, Columbus tied it up. Sorry, Stanley Cup playoffs are going on. Even then, like he's still kind of cool, even when he's a douchebag.
Yeah,
like damn, he's cool.
When he was, he did like him.
But he's gone from that to being a prisoner, and like that's really when like you can't stand him when he's a prisoner. Because he's truly an asshole, just trying to get out.
It's so funny in the books too. I'm in it right now, dude.
And then you got his relationship with Brienne for the first part, where you're like, dude, like, quit being so mean. And then he loses his hand. Then he gains some perspective on the world. And I'm going to let you talk, Chaz. But one thing that I love Dan and Dave saying was when they cut off Jaime's hand. They said like how that's such a classic George R.R. Martin move because that's killing a character without actually killing him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a great line when he's talking to Brienne after he loses his hand, and Brienne, he's basically whining about it, and Brienne basically says, people have much tougher lives than what you have, and you're bitching about losing a hand. And he responds, "I was that hand." Like, one, that's a great line, and two, that sums up. That was the death of the douchebag Jaime, and he becomes a different Jaime. But then since then he's always been very likable. But he had that suckling leech that is Cersei Lannister, always pulling him back, and I hated it. And then now he finally, it's like that buddy who you love, and he's dating just this horrible woman. And he finally breaks up with her, and you're like, yes! Let's go have a lot of beers and find you a new woman.
Like it a lot.
But yeah, that's just the way I feel about Jaime. I promise I'm gonna let you talk, Chaz, but that's just all I wanted to say. And then now, but as the final season starts, he's, as I've mentioned before, his honor has now come full circle. I think, at least, he's gone from being, I'm gonna do, whatever I want, to I'm gonna do the right thing, but also do what benefits my family, to now I think he's gone to, I'm doing the right thing regardless of who it helps.
Sure.
Chaz, what about you?
I agree with everything you said. The only thing I wanted to add was what I liked about his character arc, too, is after he lost that hand, obviously you guys know this scene, it's probably arguably most people say it's Nikolai's probably best scene is when he's in the hot bath with Brienne, and you finally get his point of view and his actual true take on him and the Mad King and what was going on and why he did what he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You finally get the answer. I mean, people call him a Kingslayer, even though I never say I hate that freaking term. I think he did the right thing by stopping him from burning a city down.
He broke an oath, sir.
Yeah, stop thousands and millions of people, how many are ever in King's Landing from dying. But regardless, you get his point, and you realize that it wasn't so bad to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So so going on that, I think the most impactful line that Nikolai Coster-Waldau speaks as the character Jaime Lannister is in that scene in the bathtub where
I think I know where you're going with this.
Brienne, you might. Brienne has caught him, and he's passing out, and she yells out, "Help the Kingslayer!" And Jaime just is in like the last of his consciousness says, "Jaime, my name is Jaime," and like that's him. Like up to that point, him being the Kingslayer didn't bother him because it was.
Oh shit! Columbus just took the lead.
That's just who he was. You're not giving the right updates, Shane. The Blues are down 1-0.
I'm sorry, I have it on. I don't have it on, but they just showed the highlight.
I think that's the most impactful moment because that's the kind of the crux of Jaime, like changing from I don't give a damn what anybody thinks.
But secretly, I mean, even then, secretly he did. His dad says it to him in the first season.
I'm not the Kingslayer.
His dad says it to him in the first season where he says, "I could care less what people think of me." And Tywin kind of scoffs at him and says, "Yeah, that's what you want people to think."
Yeah.
But yeah, just I love that character just from the beginning to the end. I mean, no one has changed more than him, and there are a lot of other characters that have changed, but no one to the extent of Jaime, and I think it's by a significant margin.
She's one of my absolute favorite characters. Just throwing her out there. I know nobody cares, but I love Jaime.
I could talk about favorite characers, but I thought character arc was more interesting.
I was just saying he's even in the books, even though I've just got his point of view, but from the show, man, Jaime's definitely one of my very top favorite characters. But go ahead.
Moving on, favorite death scene.
Oh gosh.
Boy, there's just so many. Mm-hmm. Everybody has any, y'all can go because this is gonna take a minute for me.
I really can't think of one. I'm not even gonna say I might skip the one in the books I'm about to come to because I hate it so much.
Well, I got one here. It's not a hard one for us to relive, but
Jon Snow, I'm gonna kill you.
No.
Yeah.
Although that is a great one. That is a great death scene. Hodor's good too.
That didn't bother me any.
Oh God. Do you not have a heart, sir?
Do you have no soul, sir?
Trust me.
Of course, that's the way I am with the dragon dying. Everyone's like, "Oh, Viserion," and I'm like, I don't give a shit. It's a dragon. My allegiance is to the wolves.
Yeah.
I haven't had a favorite death. I've had deaths that I do not like. I haven't had a favorite one.
Well, I got one for y'all. And mostly just because it's such a great one in the books. But Tywin Lannister's death, when he's on the toilet and Tyrion kills him, is fantastic because the entire time, I mean, just the irony. All of the death scenes have some sort of irony. But the irony with Tywin was he was always about not shaming the family. And in that moment, like he even tells Tyrion, like, shaming me has always given you pleasure. And Tyrion's like, I don't give a shit anymore. And he kills him. Like, that brings shame to the Lannisters. Killing your father. 1, killing your father. 2, killing him while he's on the toilet when he's naked. It's also one of my favorites in the books because there's a great line at the end of the 3rd book. Chaz, I hate to ruin it for you, but it says, because the line throughout the show, or in the books up to that point, was that Tywin Lannister's so rich he probably shits gold.
Yeah, I've heard that.
In his dying moments, the line says, "In the end, Tywin Lannister didn't shit gold," and I'm like, "Fucking brilliant, George."
Not to mention our boy Jamie lets Tyrion out, which is fantastic, and the little farewell.
That's one of my favorite moments too.
Yeah,
a lot of the favorite moments are in season 4, but yeah, that's one of my favorite death scenes. As much as I hate to say it, Ned Stark too, because just again the irony. The first time we see him, he's chopping off a head. The last time we see him, he's getting his head chopped off.
My dad still talks about that. This is the only show, by the way, dude. My dad's ever watched. He said it still freaks him out to this day when he sees that episode. He's like, dude, whenever I saw Ned get his head chopped off, I'm like, the dude who came up with this show is way out there in left field.
For sure.
I'm gonna keep naming them. A Crown for a King is up there for me.
Yes,
those three are probably in my top 5 death scenes.
Ooh, I've got one.
Okay.
It is not technically a death.
Okay.
Kind of a death-ish. Somebody dies. Beric Dondarrion and the Hound in Trial by Combat in the Cave.
Okay.
It's not a whole. It's more. That's another one where it's more like the way the scene plays out than like having a big impact on the plot.
Yeah, that's a good one. Keep going, but that's a good one. I'll touch up on it in a sec.
Shooting it from Arya's perspective was super interesting, and in the books, I believe it's from Arya's perspective as well.
Because, the Hound and Beric don't have point of views, or Gendry or anyone else.
Arya's perspective, and the way, like, the anger you see from Maisie Williams acted that scene brilliantly. The burn in hell, like that line that she just like screeches at the Hound after Beric is killed, is like kind of haunting in a way, but like I don't know, like it's just like
you're just left like, oh damn,
it's just
Arya.
so cool and so interesting the way that is kind of the way that whole thing plays out. You know, like the Hound is, Beric was sent originally by Arya's father to take care of the Mountain, who is just doing whatever the hell he wants to in the Riverlands. I just think it's so cool, and like, she says "burn in hell," and like there's some like a tense 10 seconds or 10, 15 seconds, and then Beric pops back up with "He will, but not today."
Yeah, that's a great line too.
So cool, yeah. That's the one that sticks out.
One I didn't think of. I mean, I don't know if it's kind of blatant or not. It's not a main character, but it was definitely something we all probably were looking forward to. Was Littlefingers in Winterfell.
See, I thought that was underwhelming.
I liked it.
It's something we had been waiting for, and I loved it. But at the end of the day, just looking back, I'm like, man, that could have been so much better.
What would you have? I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm just saying, like, what would you have kind of liked to see? Like,
I don't know, because it helps a little bit the way he died, because Littlefinger was a talker, and the fact he got his throat cut, same way, Catelyn Stark got her throat cut, the woman he loved, is a little interesting. Just the whole scene in general, I guess it's better than I think, looking back on it, because it starts with him trying to Littlefinger his way out, trying to talk his way out of, like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about, to, at the end, he's begging on his knees for his life, and that's Littlefinger. I mean, like, that's what a Littlefinger would do in that situation.
Yeah, I thought for a minute that they were going to somehow give him a chance to defend for himself, but that definitely went out. I'll tell you another one.
His last work being Sansa was super impactful, I think.
Which to this day, you guys may feel different. I don't know if you would know from the books. Like I said, I'm not as far as you guys, but I genuinely think he cared for Sansa. I do. I don't know what you guys think. Sure. I don't think that don't you think the one thing he really didn't know, or maybe he did, is he really didn't know how bad Ramsay was? I thought he actually sent Sansa to Winterfell because he seriously thought that she could turn him and then she could take a hold of her home. I don't know. Maybe that's what I think. I don't know. Maybe you guys think different. Maybe Shane looks weird. I don't know what you think.
There's a part of me that thinks Littlefinger knew all along. But the fact he didn't say it to Ramsay, they do share a scene together, and he says, like, I don't know much about you. So maybe he didn't. It's something we'll never know. But maybe he didn't know, but he had to have had known something. I mean, the fact he was willing to sell her pretty much to the family that killed her family, I mean, bullshit. It's bullshit.
Well, yeah, it was messed up. I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, because the Boltons to that point really didn't have a whole lot to do with Littlefinger's plan. I think Littlefinger always has a plan, and the plan that he was trying to pull there, in my opinion, was he wanted somebody that he could control in control of the North, whether by name or by title. Sansa Stark is somebody that the North will follow, whether she's married to Ramsay Bolton or not. Like, getting her in that position as Lady of Winterfell, whether it's of her own merit or married into, I think that was his goal all along, was getting her in a position of power, and then being able to control what he can do from there. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think he underestimated Ramsay's.
There you go. That's probably better how you put it. Probably that way. Yeah.
Assholishness. I mean,
that's putting it mildly.
Yeah. But like I said, Littlefinger's a planner, and his plan was to get that, and it just didn't work out for him.
Mm-hmm. I like how you put that. I never even thought of it as looking as not kind of just trying to put her in a position, but putting her in a position there, like they even say in the show. He never gives you anything or pretty much of that sort unless he wants something.
Unless he wants something to turn, yeah.
So, like you said, get her there. That means he manipulated her to get her there, whether he underestimated or he knew about Ramsay. But regardless, he thought she would be able to take him under control, and then he can manipulate her and control the North. Like you said, that's a good point. I never even looked at it like that.
Back to death scenes. We just mentioned his name, Ramsay Bolton, in the top 5 for me.
I mean, yeah.
Just because it's so satisfying, but it's also very poetic.
Fan service. I think the two biggest fan service ones are Ramsay and Joffrey.
Oh yeah, both.
Yeah, I mean Joffrey's is memorable, but I don't think it's truly great. And for me, what I mean by a great death scene is there's some sort of poetic or like irony of some sort, and there's a lot of them with a lot of these deaths. Joffrey's really wasn't. It was just a murder, you know.
It was just a poison.
And it was a cruel murder. I guess there's the irony, and he was very cruel.
I want to ghost eat Ramsay.
Yeah, it was better for his dogs, though.
I guess. For a ghost, hashtag.
What was the answer you gave, Steven? I wanted to touch up on it.
Darian and the Hound.
Yes. Back to talking about that, you said it was through Arya's point of view, and I think that's such a great moment, and it gives you an even more deeper insight into how this world, you don't get what you want.
Right.
Like, we all knew the Hound was guilty, and in any other TV show, he would have died. I mean, we all know he was guilty of that crime, and in any other TV show, he gets what's coming to him. Uh-oh, Chaz left.
Ain't good.
No, it's not. Hang on.
I'm going to refill my cold beverage while you figure that out.
Yeah. Well, that's not good. Well, I think Chaz's phone is about to die. That's at least what he made it out to be. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Arya. Any other show, I mean, the Hound gets what's coming to him, and he would die. And we're so wanting it to happen because we want Arya to get justice for her friend, and it doesn't happen. And to your point, there's the line "burn in hell," and you're like, oh damn.
Yeah, like she's pissed.
Yeah. Okay, he's gonna join back in at some point. He's just charging his phone. Here we go. Hang on, I'm gonna just do this. It'll be easier.
Work.
He called me, and if I accept that call, it's gonna end this call. So I'm just gonna call him and try to add him back. I am calling you, Chaz. Damn it.
Next phone, son.
He's all over the place.
Disaster.
Ah, damn it.
Give an update here. Into the second period. Your St. Louis Blues are down 1-0 to the Winnipeg Jets.
I can't believe Columbus. We're getting way off topic, obviously, but we're taking a little break. Columbus is up.
Is up?
Yeah, they were up 4-3. They were down 3-0. What the hell's going on, Chaz? Is he on the call? Doesn't act like he is.
You want me to try calling?
No. He said my phone. No, that's final. Columbus won. Holy shit.
Oh, yeah.
Says my phone. Here we go. We got him now.
Good to go.
Hey, we got Chaz back.
Thank God. Thank God.
Keep on going.
All right. So now we're back. We didn't really talk much, Chaz. We were just waiting on you to get back.
Thanks for holding up. Keep going.
All right. So I'm gonna let y'all take this, and I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. But biggest holy shit moment in the show. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Go ahead, brother. You got it.
Mine is easy, Chaz. I don't know about you. The biggest holy shit moment is Ned Stark getting beheaded. I mean, it's Ned Stark's the main character in the first season in the first book, and he dies in a super climactic and dramatic way. You don't see that very often. We lost Chaz again. Nope, we didn't. That was like the moment where I was like, okay, this is different. Like this is something that's not going to be like anything else you've ever seen.
I 100% agree, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, man. I like you said. Did you read just on this kind of? Did you read the first like Game of Thrones before the actual first season come out?
No, I didn't. So I
was just about to ask that. Sorry, I'm back.
Yeah, you're good. I read all 5 books between season 6 and season 7. There was like a 16, 18 months between those 2 seasons, and I think I got all 5 of them done between that time.
That's pretty much what I did.
So you've been well into. I was going to say it took me probably about I don't know, maybe 3 weeks to get the Clash of Kings. I don't know, once I started getting going. But anyway, I'm like you, man. Ned was a big one because I had no clue about that. Once I saw that, and like I was telling you about my dad don't even watch TV shows, but he loves Game of Thrones. He's like, dude, like, this is whacked out. Like, nobody's literally safe. So I think that's a big one. And Shane always thought this would happen. I wasn't how he said. I think he had known in the books. You probably had thought this too. I honestly, at first, didn't think John was coming back. That may sound stupid and really really vulnerable, but I really didn't think he was, just because like what happened to Ned and other people. So that kind of actually really shocked me.
Yeah.
Now looking back, maybe that's kind of goofy to think that.
Come on,
but
how can you not see it looking back? It was like the worst kept secret.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so
looking back,
I guess maybe I thought that so I wouldn't disappoint myself if it actually maybe happened. But I'm like him, man. Ned was a game changer. That Hodor one was crazy too, though.
So to touch up on Jon Snow's resurrection, to me that is one of those "where were you when it happened" moments, and I will never forget where I was. I was with Chaz.
Yeah.
We were watching it on Sunday night. And
you were watching it. I wasn't watching it.
No, you were. We were watching the episode, is what I meant.
Yeah.
And when it finally got to the final 10 minutes, when they were going to try to do this, I was like, "Holy shit, it's happening!" And I remember being on Chaz's lazy boy chair, on the edge of my seat, just like this, not even blinking, for 10 minutes. And finally, when Melisandre's doing her thing, Chaz goes, "I can't take this anymore," and goes into the other room. And it wasn't what, Chaz, like maybe a minute, and you hear me screaming.
I hear you screaming something. I don't know if we're going to put that on this podcast.
I don't.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember what I said. I yelled, "Come on, you red bitch!" And then I think you left the room after that, and then it happened, and then I remember just screaming, going nuts, and Chaz walked into the room behind me, and I turned around and yelled, "We got our boy back!"
Yeah. Super, super hype in Morgantown, West Virginia, man.
I remember going outside and screaming it.
Yeah, we were going outside.
I was like, "Jon Snow's back!"
Dude, we were like acting like a bunch of just freaking hoodlums, man. We were just acting like a bunch of nerds, but.
So anyway, you said Ned Stark's death. I mean, that is the original holy shit moment in the show.
Yeah.
However, I already knew it happened before watching it because I was already into the show. I actually watched it by accident. I was watching clips on YouTube. Don't ever do that.
No, I don't.
And, I just started watching a few clips, and then next thing you know, it was like Ned Stark's death. And I didn't realize how important Ned Stark was. So I was like, all right, and clicked on it, and I just watched it. I'm like, oh, damn. All right. And then I watched it, I'm like, oh, man, I can't believe he dies. He's so important, blah, blah, blah. And then, so for me, and then I knew I was pretty much a book reader. I didn't really have a holy shit moment. I knew everything that was happening for the most part.
Yeah.
So for me, I really didn't get one until, I would argue, the end of season 5 with Shireen Baratheon's death.
Gosh, yes. That's a spoiler for the book that Winds of Winter, too, right? That and the Hodor
I would
thing.
imagine so. I think it's safe to say. I don't know how, but it's because it's different, but it's probably going to happen.
The Dave and Dan said that whenever they sat down with George, and obviously they knew at one point how the books will end unless he changes it, but they said that they did use the Hodor thing and the Shireen thing, which will be, unless he changes it from then, but that Shireen was
I mean, the Hodor thing's up there too. I would argue that's right. That's number 2 for him because they happen pretty close in the story.
I think the Shireen one freaked me out more, but both, yeah, both.
But yeah, I remember watching. I remember I was late when the Hodor episode happened. I was late to watch it. I remember when I got back, we were doing something that day, and I got back home. The episode was already over, and I remember getting a text from one of my friends saying, "Hold the door." And I read it, and I was like, huh, what does that mean? I was like, that kind of sounds like Hodor, actually, now that I think about it. And sure enough, I watched the episode, and I'm like, oh, my God.
So right in front of your face, too.
Yep. The whole time.
Well, so unless y'all have anything else you want to talk about for your favorite memories of the show, I'm ready to move on.
Don't have me.
All right, then.
Yeah, that's good.
So let's go ahead and get into the final season. An hour or whatever into it.
We're not at an hour yet. Come on, Jay.
Are we not?
Give us a break. No.
Now this is an hour, 59 minutes.
We're GOT, and you nerds, book reader nerds. You know you guys are beat on me. So
you're a book reader, Charles.
I know. Dude, hey, what's crazy? Look what I have right here in my seat.
Storm of Swords.
I was reading
My
that
favorite,
right
my
before
personal
you called
favorite.
her.
I don't have that one. I have the original. I don't know if it's the original, but one of the original.
The short, fat one.
No, the front, the cover.
Yeah, I don't
green
have like
one.
the ones that are like the HBO ones. I bought the original set that just don't have like the show scenes on them or whatever.
Like the show posters.
Yeah, show
Okay.
posters. That's what I meant.
Yeah.
All right, so theories for the final season. And I just threw out some questions here that we can talk about. It's not necessarily theories, but one that I really want to discuss with you guys. What do you think Melisandre is going to find out in Volantis? She was barely in the 7th season. She was in the 7th season for what, like an episode and a half? Maybe not even. 3 scenes, maybe? And she just says, I'm going to Volantis, and we never saw her again.
You guys jump on that a little bit more. I don't know because I'm kind of, from the show, I really kind of, unless she's bringing more Red Witches, I really don't know. I don't know if maybe you could scoop something from the books that may be coming alive and with this, because maybe I haven't really got to know Melisandre besides through Davos' point of view so far in the books.
Yeah, and that's really the only time you see her is through Davos' point of view. Obviously, that's they kind of do a pretty good job of having.
She gets her own point of view at one point.
Yeah, she does.
Each camp,
Yeah.
But like Volantis is weird. It's one of the free cities. Like it's the Long Bridge. We've seen it a couple of times in the show.
Yeah.
We've heard of it, yeah.
But like I don't know exactly what could be calling her. Like there's a chance that it's like an amalgamation.
I believe I don't mean to interrupt you, but I believe, Stephen, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Temple of Relore is in Volantis, like where that's like where the
There's a temple of Relore.
There's a temple. Okay.
I
remember reading that in the 5th book.
Ashai and Mir and Lorath and Volantis.
I thought Volantis had the one though, like the Vatican almost.
It might be like an amalgamation of so in the books and like in Song of Ice and Fire lore, there's a place called Qohor, which is where for casual viewers the Smith Gendry works for in Flea Bottom is from Qohor.
Yes, you've talked about this. You have talked about this. And
that is like the only place that Smiths know how to rework Valyrian steel.
Oh wow!
Like that, according to legend, obviously, like, and that was kind of morphed into Volantis. Tywin Lannister used a Smith from Volantis in the show to rework ice into the swords that became Widow's Wail and Oathkeeper. Yeah. So I don't know if like that may be an amalgamation of that, like kind of tied into that. We'll see.
That's a good point.
I don't know, but like I don't. She said to Varys in one of her couple of scenes in season 7, "I have to die in this strange land, as do you."
Yep.
Yeah.
And
When
so does Varys.
when Jon arrives, she's looking up top.
Yeah. Yeah. So she's obviously coming back to Westeros.
Yeah. Yeah, and the actress, Carice Van Houten, has been at all the premieres and, promoting it and stuff.
For sure. Yeah. So Jon has banished her from the north. So, I mean, but things are happening at Winterfell, obviously.
I think she'll be there by the battle.
I mean,
as we know, the humans travel faster than the White Walkers.
Yeah, probably.
I'd say she'll probably be there too.
So my idea was, and that's a good one, Stephen. My idea was that she was going to Volantis, to this Temple of Relore, to look up more about Azor Ahai prophecy. I mean, she told Davos that she thinks Jon Snow is the prince that was promised. I don't even know about you, Steven. I still don't know if they're referring to if this prophecy is referring to one person or two, Azor Ahai and the prince that was promised, if they're separate or they're the same. They're definitely intertwined somehow.
My personal theory is that, Westerosi lore, it's the last hero.
I was just about to talk about this, but yeah.
Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised. In Dothraki lore, it's the stallion who mounts the world. There's that type of person for a lot of different cultures and religions and things like that in this world. I'm under the impression that it's the same person. It's different. I mean,
so you think it's one person?
Yeah. So I think it's very similar as the God of the Jews and the Christians and the Muslims. Probably all the same thing. It's just a different interpretation. I think that because George is a student of history. Obviously, the whole War of the Five Kings and things like that was based on an actual war, the War of the Roses.
Yep.
In medieval England and parts of Europe. So I think a student of history like what George is, I think that's something that he created, and it's different interpretations of the same thing.
Yeah, I'm really glad you mentioned that. I was actually doing research, and there actually were two different heroes that defeated the White Walkers, according to legend. In Westeros, it was the last hero, who I think is believed to be a Stark. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. But they just call him the last hero. And then actually in Essos is Azor Ahai. Yeah. Somehow the White Walkers ended up there. According to the legends of A Song of Ice and Fire, I think the civilization was called Yi-Ti. It's way far in the east toward Ashai. They pissed off their gods, and then the gods sent the White Walkers from the north to get them. And then Azor Ahai defeated them. So I think it's two different people in legends. So we'll see. There might be three different, Azor Ahai, the prince that was promised, and the last hero, and even the stallion that mounts the world. And I'll get to that in a second. I could see it being four different people.
Oh wow.
It's just my personal opinion, but I think she's going to Volantis to read more about this Azor Ahai prophecy.
The one that we have really heard, though, and the one that she mentioned to Dany when she got the Dragonstone, was she said the prince that was promised would bring the dawn. She didn't, even though we've heard all these sayings, but has mainly, and then you hear Davos talking to her Castle Black after Jon away. He's like, so you served Jon Snow? And she's like, he's the prince that was promised.
Of course, she also thought Stannis was the prince that was promised.
Yeah, I'm just saying the prince that was promised seems to be the one that is mentioned probably the most.
That is, in my opinion, that is the Andal version of...
Yeah, I would agree there. Yeah. Like the last hero was the first men and the children of Forest.
Yeah.
The Andals, maybe Azor Ahai, prince that was promised. Dothraki, obviously, stallion mounts the world.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, so this is where Shane and I disagree. I think it's different interpretations of one person.
Oh, I don't disagree, but I think it could work out to where it's four different people.
I think I'm leaning towards Steve. I think that's a good. That could be probably, like you said, different interpretations. I used to think it was like the last hero, Prince that was promised in Zerahi, one or three different. I'm starting to think it's one as well.
I can get into this a little bit, but let's move on because what I want to discuss can be factored in a little bit later.
Okay.
Do you think Jack and Hagar will return for the final season? What about Dario Naharis and Mira Reed?
I think we'll see Mira Reed. I think we'll see Howland Reed.
Possibly. We haven't really heard about that.
We haven't really heard about it when there hasn't been like a cast leak of it.
No, I thought it was going to be Ian McShane when he was cast.
Yeah, that would have been really cool. I mean, I think that the living may lose the Battle of Winterfell. Not lose in terms of like their army's completely wiped out and they're just dead, but they get pushed back, and logically and geographically, that will push them back to the Neck, where Greywater Watch is, which is the ancestral seat of House Reed. We haven't heard that Howland Reed is dead yet. The last we hear of him in the books, he is leaving the camp of Robb Stark with Robb's will, naming Jon Snow as his successor as King of the North, which I think is
that's right.
super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Yeah, I heard about that.
I completely forgot that.
The cool part of the books
Robb
where
named Jon
Mage
his
Mormont. Mage Mormont.
You told me that, Shane. You told me that a while back.
I just forgot. Yeah.
No, that's such a cool part of the books where Mage Mormont and Catelyn Stark and Howland Reed are witnesses to that will that Robb makes.
Awesome,
yeah, because Catelyn didn't want him to name Jon.
No.
Fucking Catelyn. I never liked Catelyn.
I know. I wouldn't.
And so Howland Reed, I think we see, or Howland and Mira, I think we see.
Okay, you're gonna go on record and say Howland. Okay.
Me too.
Dario, I will say no.
Steven, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. I was telling him at first before we got to see Harry Strickland in the trailer, but I was thinking, because I saw a theory, which all these theories you know about, Dario possibly leading the Gold Company. Obviously, that's out of the equation, but I didn't know if you had seen that or heard about that.
I didn't see the theory, actually, but, I mean, he's the leader of the Second Sons, which is the second biggest.
It's not the Second Sons in the books, right? It's something else.
No, yeah, it's something else. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I thought so.
But it's, but you also have to think, like, Dario is completely and totally devoted to Dany, and I don't think he would be leading a mercenary company who is being hired for the sole purpose of defeating Dany.
I agree with that, and I told Chaz that. Just the whole, I mean, his line in the third season, even though it's a different actor, is, "My sword is yours, my life is yours, my heart is yours."
Yeah.
I don't see him betraying her, even though it's a good reason to. I mean, she's, left him there. His heart's broken. It's a good enough excuse to turn on her, but I don't think he will.
You also have to look at, so Dany's been betrayed for gold already.
Yes, and that's we could talk about that another time, but yeah.
There's a prophecy thing that you'll be betrayed 3 times, once for love, once for gold.
Just got through that in the house then dying.
Do you think all 3 have happened in the books? Because I know the one is obvious, and it's Miri Mazdur. I forget what the third one is, but the third one is her. One's for vengeance, maybe, I don't remember.
I can't remember what the wording is, but it's once for love, once for gold.
I just read it for 2. Yeah, I thought love's definitely one for gold, and son of a gun. I just read it.
I mean, but I don't know if, because gold is obviously Jorah Mormont. Like, that's.
You think?
I think that's pretty obvious. Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. But you could also make the. Hell, I don't know. Damn.
Well, put it this way: would it surprise both of you if we saw Dario?
No.
It would surprise me, yeah. It would. Because I feel like this is going to be a very Westerosi centric season where there's nothing left in Essos for us to worry about, unless we follow Melisandre to Volantis or we follow Euron to.
Once for blood, once for gold, once for love.
Blood. Okay.
Something else I want
to
mention.
So vengeance. That's Miri Mazdur.
Yeah. Is maybe even with Jock, and I know you haven't got to him yet, but I know that George said this in an interview a long time ago. I don't know if the show may leave it like this, but where it keeps people talking where there's kind of loose ends with some characters. They live, but it's not set in stone what is next in their journey. It's kind of for you to decide. Do you think that's kind of what they're doing with Jock, and if you don't think he's coming back, or specifically with Dario, since you think it's kind of like you kind of allude to him leading the Second Sons and maybe what he'll do next. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. I feel where you're coming from there. Like, I don't think we see Jaqen Hagar.
I don't either.
I think we do see a faceless man of some kind, like coming after Arya a little bit. Like I think those storylines do kind of meld a little bit, and she gets the best of it, like takes care of it. I don't know if it's specifically going to be Jaqen Hagar, but
he already kind of. I don't mean to interrupt you. He already kind of came back. I mean, he appeared he appears in the books in the second book, and he comes back in the fourth book.
Isn't he supposedly a maester at the Citadel? Or
he's posing as one.
He does
because he killed him or whatever.
He's posing as one, yes. So I think that's pretty much the show's way of bringing him back is training Arya. So I don't think he'll come back. I don't know what his role is in the books, but I don't think Jaqen will come back. I'm gonna say no to Dario. I won't be 100% shocked though if he does. And Mira, I think it's safe to say she'll be back. I mean, I'll be shocked if she's not at Winterfell.
I'm with Steven on not only Mira being back, but Howland Reed coming back.
I'd love to see Howland Reed back.
Would you have a problem with him being the one? Well, I guess we can get to that about John.
No, I think I could see a scenario where, and this is a great segue actually. How will Jon Snow find out about his true parentage? I could see a scenario where, assuming Bran doesn't tell him,
or Sam.
Yeah, or Sam. Or maybe they do tell him and he just doesn't believe them. I could see a scenario where Howland Reed shows up and basically confirms it.
Because Howland's the only living person that was there.
There, exactly, yes.
Like, so... And I think he was... I mean, obviously, Howland being bound to Ned Stark as one of his bannermen. And
no one's seen him since.
Yeah, and nobody's seen him since the Tower of Joy, really.
Yeah, that's the only time. And he don't even look like that, obviously, on the show, yeah.
Looks a little bit different because he's kind of around during, like, the war, like, but you don't...
He's mentioned, especially during the Tower of Joy, like, dream flashbacks for Ned.
Yeah. I mean, but you don't... he's, like I said, mentioned and is around, but, you don't hear from him a whole lot. He's just kind of there. Yeah. But I think they're setting it up where Bran and Sam both are gonna be the ones to tell Jon.
Do you think Bran will?
Yeah, I think it'll be Bran. I think it'll, though. I don't. So I actually no. I think it will be Sam.
That's what I've always thought. I think Bran is either gonna keep it to himself. Like, I don't know, like he'll see, like, that they're already, like, fucking, so to speak, like what you said yesterday, Steven, in our group text, where my coworker said, I already know John and Danny are together, and you said, together's very vague, let's put it simply, they're fucking. I could see it where he's like, you know what, let's not ruin what he has, let's let him have some happiness. I could see that, then he dies, and then it just, you can tell it'll weigh on Sam.
But Sam is, like, such a... like
that's his best friend. He says
his best friend, yeah. And
he says that I trust... sorry, Steven. Whenever he gets that raven at the beginning of season 7 when he's in the Great Hall of Winterfell addressing the Wards of the North, he's like, this is a letter from Citadel or whatever.
Samwell Tarly. Get his name right.
A man that I certain nights watch and I trust more than anybody. You know what I mean?
And so I think it... and Jon and Bran didn't really have the relationship that you see
him and Arya or whatever.
Him and Arya had, and then him and Sansa have.
Yeah.
The one thing, and I've mentioned this on the show before, and I've talked about it with Chaz a lot, maybe even you, Steven, is that Sam has always never been able to keep his emotions from Jon. Anytime he has a secret, Jon calls him out on it. And I think that's going to be the same way this time around.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I think that, dramatically, I think it makes sense that it will come from Sam.
Yeah.
Whether that means that it will come from Sam in a room.
And this is how I think it works out better. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you, but if Sam, I'm gonna go ahead and say Bran won't tell him, and Sam will at some point, and this is how. Assuming Bran dies and he can't like show him in a warg situation where John would be like, "You're insane," like I don't believe you. And then Howland Reed shows up and says, "Oh yeah, that's true."
Before we go on, is this on the very first episode? Is this before the battle or call it? When is it?
This is so tough.
I would say episode 2 is before the battle. I would say before the battle.
I think I'm gonna say before 2, just because the shots of the trailer, John looks very conflicted.
So
obviously, the dead are
saying episode 2.
I'm gonna say it's before the battle at some point. I won't say episode 1. There's gonna be too much going on. They're moving in, to Winterfell. Jaime. I think we're gonna focus more on Jaime coming back, and how to deal with him.
I think episode 1 is gonna be very reunion heavy with Jon and Arya. Jaime and Bran is one that's super.
I can't wait.
I am super interested.
Yes.
To see how that works out. I think another one that's super overlooked is Dany and Sam. Well, I think that would be super interesting. Do
you mean Jorah and Sam?
No. I think Dany and Sam is a super interesting reunion because
I don't think they've met.
They haven't, but
then that's not a reunion.
Yeah, meeting. I'm sorry. I think a meeting of Dany and Sam will be super interesting because of what she did to his.
I'd also like to see. I like to see Sansa and Dany meet. I think they go from not really trusting each other to being really good friends.
The big one too, fellas. The one me.
You got out.
He's probably going to say Jaime and Tyrion.
They've already met.
They've met.
Jaime and Bran.
I think
yeah.
What did you say then, Steven? You said Bran or Jaime and somebody. I thought you said Bran and Jaime. It was like your second one. I thought you did.
I don't know. I ran through a whole bunch there.
Okay. I thought you did. But yeah, Jaime and Bran definitely is one I'm looking forward to. So yeah, we kind of touched up on that. I think it will be Sam. I think it's going to be Sam that tells Jon his true parentage. I don't think it'll be Bran. Will Jon Snow ride a dragon?
Yes.
Kind of dumb, but
yeah,
like all 100%.
Yeah. Will he ride a dragon during the battle? He wasn't seen on the battlefield. Well, technically he was, but he could have gotten off the dragon.
So during the battle, I think he's a ground commander.
Like we said, he's too much of a commander for a father. Yeah, he's a ground guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Ground guy. But very obviously will ride a dragon.
Yeah. So. Will Ghost return?
Yes.
Yeah. Will Jon and Daenerys get married? I thought it was going to happen at the end of last season.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I think they will. I think they'll plan to get married, and then I think one of them dies.
Okay, I could see that.
I'm kind of iffy on this now. Especially with the market.
Chaz, what's going on? Okay. You're just thinking.
I don't know. It was. Can you hear me?
I can. You're just going in and out.
Hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
You got me now?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Were they just? I read something where Jon is not.
Damn it.
Can you hear me?
I can. Just you keep going in and out. You stop and start a bunch. I don't know what's going on. Oh, son of a bitch. You left. Well, let's just go ahead and continue. So you say no to Jon and Daenerys getting married?
I do, yeah.
getting actually married.
Like I said, I think they will plan to.
Yeah, I think
what
so too.
means like uniting the kingdoms or it's a political thing, or they marry because they love each other and they're having a kid. I think that that plan will be made, but I don't think it will be executed because I do think one of them dies. Yeah. I don't particularly know which quite yet, but I think one of them does eat it.
I'm gonna say yes. And I'm going to even say before the Battle of Winterfell. Because that's episode 3. I swear, I thought it was going to happen at the end of last season. I thought The Dragon and the Wolf couldn't have been more obvious of a title.
Yeah.
But my theory was always, and I'm sticking by it, was they're going to get married, but during the process, Daenerys' people will say, you can't marry someone with a bastard name, and Jon will change his name to Jon Stark.
I mean, does he have the ability to change his name to Jon Stark?
He's a king, man.
He's the king of the North.
He's the king of the North. She's a queen. They can do it.
He's not anymore. I mean, he bent the knee.
That doesn't mean he's not king.
Named to Jon Stark.
That doesn't mean he's not still king in the North. He never bent the knee.
Oh, I mean,
figuratively, yes.
Figuratively.
And I don't like the idea of Daenerys sitting at the high table at Winterfell. Makes me ill.
She's going to. It will be Jon, Daenerys, Sansa, Bran, Arya, Davos, maybe Tyrion. Yeah. I think it will be just like across the front.
They'll find a way to issue some sort of royal decree to make him Jon Stark. I mean, she can do that.
But I mean, at that point, do you think he already knows? They already know who he is.
Yeah, that's a good point. This could be what holds Bran back from telling him. Was that like he knows that they need a marriage? He doesn't want to, burst his bubble, Mm. And I could also see it where like she's pregnant and it becomes a shotgun wedding.
Because Jon has made it super clear in both the show and the books, I believe, he doesn't want. He wasn't too keen on having sex because he doesn't want to create more bastards.
Yep. I can't see a scenario where Jon doesn't find out. Well, we already know he does, pretty much. They've pretty much already come out and said he's gonna find out the truth. I can't see a scenario where he ends the show still as Jon Snow. He's either going to be Jon Stark or he's going to take up the Aegon Targaryen name.
He will be Jon Stark or Aegon Targaryen or Aegon Stark or
whatever.
Something like that. It wouldn't surprise me if very early on we find out that Dany's pregnant and Jon, like we said, Jon convinces her, like, let's go to the Godwood and get married right now.
Yeah.
Like, I will not be the cause of...
How about this? How about a secret marriage?
And it may be that, it may be them and Maester Wolkin and nobody else.
Like Davos or someone witnessing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Surprise me at all.
Still haven't heard from Chaz. He's charging his phone. Will Daenerys get pregnant? Let's go ahead and get on record. Will she get pregnant?
Yes, I think that's the easiest call maybe the easiest call of all of these. Absolutely.
I think so too.
She'll get pregnant. Will she birth the child? I don't.
That's tough. I'm envisioning this. I've always envisioned, and I want to give it away, but they've made it very I don't want to give away how I think this is going to end, but they've made it very clear the issue of Daenerys' successor.
Mm-hmm.
and I think it's going to happen. And even if if it's just Jon, he can get married. But I think it's gonna have to be I think it'd be a rebirth of a Targaryen line on the Iron Throne. So I think she will get pregnant. I could see a scenario where the finale takes place like a year later. I don't know. I don't like that idea, but I could see it.
Yeah, it's kind of like the aftermath of, like the way I would see it was like they've taken care of the threat in the north, like they've taken care of the Night King and all that, and then the last, episode, 2 episodes, whatever the case may be, is them winning the throne, however that turns out, and I've got some hot takes on that.
We'll get into that. I'm trying to get some theories in now before we give away the fate of the characters later on.
Yeah, sure. Like I don't know how I can say this without giving things away, but like the way that they win the throne lends to Targaryens taking it again, and there being a line to start and to work forward with.
I think it's going to be like almost like at the end of episode 5, because there's 6 episodes, where it's like a happy ending almost. We think it's going to be a happy ending.
Yeah.
But I don't see George in the middle of his book advancing it a year, unless the epilogue is super long. Maybe. But I don't see that. I don't know.
I can see that, though. Like the epilogue being... Like, I'm super... Well, I'm super into the... What is it? Sam the Scribe theory?
Yeah, Sam the...
Or, whatever it's called.
Reader, storyteller or something, yeah.
Sam the Storyteller, whatever it is. Sam the
Scribe,
think so too. Sam the Storyteller. I think that that's a very plausible end to the series, where it's Sam sitting down and saying, I'm going to write the events of the Song of Ice and Fire.
What if it's maybe not deep into the future, but he's telling like the aftermath of everything, like it's through his point of view, and he's writing it down, and then like as he's writing it down, the show kind of goes back like in his memories of what all happens after they take the Iron Throne.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome. I think that would be an excellent epilogue.
Like with whoever is sitting on the throne, whether that, we'll kind of get into that later, whether that be Jon or their child or Tyrion as regent or Hand or whatever, like I could totally see that.
That would be a great, I think, idea.
In that room, in the small council chambers, maybe, like, where we had so many super meaningful scenes, I can totally see that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I'm proud of us for coming up with that.
Heck yeah.
Brainstorming. Will the Lannisters march north to Winterfell during the Battle of Winterfell?
Jaime will.
We know Jaime will.
I think Ron will. I don't think the army will.
I think it could. I've talked about this with Chaz a little bit. There's been such a, maybe even with you, Stephen, there's been such a emphasis on no army has marched north during winter. And I think it's easy, like, Cersei could easily, in her madness, say, we got to march north and take out these guys.
That's another thing, that's another, like, historical reference. I think if you think about armies marching into Russia in winter, Napoleon tried and screwed it up. Hitler tried and screwed it up. I think that's a thing that, I mean, it might be, that may be kind of out of left field, but that's something to think about. Like I said, as George, who is such a student of history as he is, I think that's something to consider.
I just like the idea of three armies fighting during one battle.
I think it would be dramatic as hell.
Yeah.
I don't see it making sense in the plot.
Yeah, I agree with that. It would be really cool, but I don't see it happening. I feel like she's tucked away in King's Landing, and the combination of the City Watch, the remaining Lannisters, Golden Company defending the walls of King's Landing.
I agree.
Who will win the battle at Winterfell? Let's go ahead and go on record. I almost said put your balls on the table. Put all the cards on the table.
Put your balls on the table.
Put your dick on the table. Make a prediction.
Oh man, so I'm gonna go cheap cop out here and say there won't be a clear winner of the Battle of Winterfell.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, so I think that there will be massive, like, plot armor being shed. Like, there will be a lot of major character deaths.
Yes.
I think that's going to be most of our major character deaths will come in the Battle of Winterfell.
Yes. I
think that see, like, well, damn, Shane, I guess I think that the White Walkers will win it because I think that the living will be pushed back. I think 100,000 or whatever the Army of the Dead has is just too much to handle.
It's gonna be. I'll go ahead and say I'm right there with you. I could see this being almost like a moral victory. It's not gonna be. I think the living might be just about wiped out.
Yeah.
I mean, they got the dead have 100,000 dead men. They got an ice dragon, which I don't know how you kill the ice dragon. I mean, you can't just go up to it and stab it with dragon, or what do you call it?
Dragon glass.
Dragon glass, yes.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I think the dead are going to win because I can't see a scenario where the White Walkers are done at the midway point of the final season.
Yeah, I kind of go either. I don't know, like, because I could see a way where they take care of it and there's finality to it.
Yeah, maybe, but there's still 3 episodes left. What do you have?
I could also see where they elongate that plot line and then have to deal with 2 in the 3 episodes remaining.
The problem is I haven't heard of any other battles outside of the Battle of Winterfell this season. Maybe they've kept it under wraps, but...
No, you haven't, but, I mean, you have to see the dragons flying over King's Landing. I mean, that has been shown through the eyes of Bran and the Blood Raven. Like, that's going to happen at some point. So whether that means that they have been pushed back to King's Landing and are kind of fighting a war on 2 fronts, that would kind of be like a worst case scenario for Jon and Dany.
Well, I'll tell you what, and Chaz sent me this. There's a theory out there. They did a trailer breakdown of one of the more recent ones.
Yeah.
There's a shot of Jon and Daenerys is at a fire, and it looks a lot like the fire thing, or the pit, or whatever you call it, at Dragonstone. So I could see. I mean, either way, I think they're going there to prepare their assault for King's Landing. I could see them losing and the 2 remaining dragons surviving. I don't know how, but they end up surviving and just carrying like 12 people back to Dragonstone and retreat.
Like
because the dead can't get to an island.
Yeah, like carrying the remaining.
Other than the Night King.
Yeah. I can see that for sure.
Yeah, we could keep talking about that, but we'll get into that later. Will there be a game bowl?
Yes.
Yeah.
There has to be.
Yeah.
That's fan service. There has to be.
I mean, they even teased it last season with the Hound and the Mountain meeting in King's Landing, and the Hound saying, "You know how this ends for you, brother."
Yeah, there has to be. Like,
here's one. Sorry, did you have something?
No, I will riot.
Yeah, I will too. Here's one that drives me nuts. I'm sure it drives you nuts. And William likes to tease that he believes this, but I don't think that he believes it. I don't think he does. But is Bran Stark the Night King?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. No.
No. That's
I hate that theory.
No. Let's go.
Blues.
Yes, Blues just scored
1-1. Penguins and Islanders are in overtime here.
2-1 with 3 minutes left in the 2 minutes left. I'm sorry, in the third period.
But
let's go.
The whole Bran Stark is the Night King. Chaz likes to tease me with this too. That's why I wish he was here. But he'll be back eventually, and we'll get his take on it. But how can he be in two places at once?
Just pretty quick.
How can he be in two places at once? How can he be beyond the wall and at Winterfell and Warg and see himself? It makes no sense unless it's some sort of alternate timeline, which I don't see happening.
Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, it like I know that logic kind of has to go out the window in these situations.
This is the ridiculous theory, and the only thing driving it is that I think they kind of look alike. Isaac, whatever his name is. I forget the actor who plays Bran's name. Hempstead Reed, I think is his name. Kind of looks like the Night King. They kind of have big noses. And they did a recast even to make him kind of look like that. I get it. But that was the driving force of a theory that drove me nuts a few years ago, was the twins theory for Lyanna Stark. Gave birth to twins. One was Jon Snow, one was Mira Reed. And the driving force was they looked alike.
Yeah, it was the actors looked similar.
Yeah. And I was like, that's ridiculous. So there's no way. Simple logic says that there's no way that this can happen. They can't be in two places at once. He can't reach out and grab him in a Warg moment. Grab himself in a Warg moment.
Yeah. There's too much like that's too much magic. Like there's not enough.
Now, how about this? Let's theorize. We've talked about this. You think that they're somehow connected? How?
I think the Night King is a Stark.
Okay. I would like to.
I buy into the theory that so I don't know if you know about, because I don't think we've talked about this, the Night's King from the book. The 13th Lord Commander of the Night's Watch.
I'm familiar.
Married a female White Walker, took the Night Fort as his castle, made sacrifices to the White Walkers, whatever. I am of the theory, of the mindset that those are the same person.
Okay.
That the Night's King is the Night King in the book and the show.
Okay.
And
was he a Stark?
Yeah, all signs point to him being a Stark or a Snow of some kind.
Okay.
A Northman or a legit Stark.
One idea that I've had, and it's really outrageous. I will admit it. I'm not saying it's going to happen at all, but one idea that I'd really be interested in is if the Night King were somehow Rhaegar Targaryen. I don't know. I think it'd be interesting.
How the fuck?
No, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying I believe in it. It's just something I came up with one day because I like the idea of only Targaryens being dragon riders, and now that the Night King is a dragon rider, like what if he's Rhaegar Targaryen somehow? Which I don't think he is. But.
You also have to think that, like, now that we know that the Night King was created by the Children of the Forest, during their war with the First Men.
Yes.
The Targaryens were still in Valyria at that time.
Okay.
And maybe didn't even exist. So that's like the one hole that I can poke in that.
No, it's not going to happen, but just something interesting.
Interesting, yeah. I mean, I get where you're coming from. It's just wrong.
Right. It's just wrong. Will we find out more about the Night King?
Yes.
You think so?
I think we will. I think it will be like through the eyes of Bran.
Okay.
Like maybe through the eyes of Sam in the books that he stole from the Citadel, but I think it will be a flashback or a weirwood.net, whatever you want to call it.
Because I can remember my cousin watching this for the first time, and she asked me point blank, like, what's the purpose of the Night King and the White Walkers? And I was like, they're the bad guys. And she was like, yeah, but what's their purpose? Why are they doing this? And I was like, huh. I never have thought about that before. And I didn't know what to tell her. I was like, just shut up and watch it. They're the bad guys.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't think we'll find that out, but I do want to find out more about this Night King fellow. He may be a Steven, according like that meme says. He looks like a Steven.
Update, Winnipeg just pulled their goalie.
Ooh.
Empty net for Winnipeg, which has gone horribly for the Blues lately.
Here's an interesting one. Are there dragons beneath Winterfell?
Books, I think yes.
Okay.
Show, like, no.
Expand on that.
I'm
I'm familiar with the theory because
they've touched on it more in the books and it's a bigger thing in the books than in the show. The show, I don't think it's touched on it at all.
No.
And the legend is that, apparently Jordan Bennington, the goalie for the Blues, just made the best save of all time because my timeline is freaking the hell out. Anyway, like the theory is that Winterfell is warmed by a dragon living in the crypts, or
no, I've read it's the hot springs.
So the hot springs is is the logical explanation to it, obviously, but like the lore and legend is that a dragon warms the walls of Winterfell, whatever. I think so. Well, actually, like I don't know if that Blues just won.
Oh, good for you.
Blues win. So I don't know if kind of coming back on that, I don't know if that means that like a legit dragon is in the crypts of Winterfell or beneath Winterfell, or if it is a nod to Jon Snow and his parentage. And Lyanna obviously is in the crypts of Winterfell as Jon's mother. So
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
I think I want there to be one here. I think it would be super interesting and cool for that to be a part of the book plotline. Like I said, show, there's no way. They just haven't talked about it.
I could see it being where, like, they just used Viserion as a cop-out to get an ice dragon.
Yeah.
I don't know. I could see it where Viserion really does join, dies and becomes part of the Night King's army. I think it's interesting because dragons are in this world. Dragons are often found by these hot springs, and there are a bunch of hot springs underneath Winterfell that keep it warm, as we just said. So I think it's definitely something that could happen, but not in the show. Yeah, I'm with you. It won't happen in the show.
It would definitely be a book storyline.
Yeah, I think so too. Will a third Targaryen be revealed? The dragon has 3 heads.
In the show, no.
I don't even think in the books.
There's already a third Targaryen in the books.
Yeah, I don't think he's real.
I mean, wait a minute. You don't think young Griff is real?
No, I think he's a real character. I don't think he's a real Targaryen. I think he's an imposter.
You think he's a Blackfire?
I don't know about that. I just think I think he's been lied to. I don't think he's really Aegon Targaryen.
I have some theories.
Okay, go ahead.
I think he is a Blackfire because he, in the books, obviously, and good thing that Chaz isn't here, brings the Golden Company to Westeros in the 5th book.
Yes.
As his army.
With John Connington.
With John Connington, yeah. And the Golden Company in history, its history is the Golden Company was formed by a Blackfire, and their basic goal was to seat a Blackfire on the Iron Throne.
I had not heard that.
Yeah, so like they were I don't remember. I can't remember exactly which one. Daemon, I believe. Daemon Blackfire was Daemon the second, maybe, was the Blackfire that I can't remember, second or third Blackfire rebellion. They all are kind of run together. Fled to Essos and formed the Golden Company with the specific purpose of using it to bring back to Westeros and win the throne.
That's interesting. I could see him being like a descendant.
It's like a descendant of that. I also am of the belief that Varys is a Blackfire.
Islanders just won.
I have seen some. The who?
Islanders. Just won in overtime.
Go. Let's go Blues. There are some super interesting theories about like the way that Varys operates in the books and in the show, really, to kind of bolster the Targaryen.
Yeah.
And in the show, the Targaryen and Blackfires kind of meld together. Their storylines kind of meld together.
Isn't a Blackfire? Weren't the Blackfires like the bastard children? And they became like a family.
Blackfire was a bastard of a Targaryen king that died without a legitimate heir. I think I'll have to check this. So the original Blackfire was a bastard son of a Targaryen king that died without a legitimate heir. And so
that's right. It's because it's kind of like Civil War.
And the young brother fought, and that was the first, not the first Blackfire Rebellion, but the Dance of Dragons, maybe.
Possibly, I don't remember with the Dance of Dragons.
I don't. There's so much that there's so much history to remember. I can't. It all kind of runs together. But anyway. No, I don't think, specifically show, I don't think a third Targaryen is revealed. Unless Varys comes out of Blackfire.
So what about Tyrion? Do you think Tyrion is a Targaryen?
I do not, no.
Yeah, that's the one theory that I've seen, and it's interesting. Like, a lot of people try to make that argument because he's very into dragons. He has dragon dreams. He kind of has his hair in the show, or I'm sorry, in the books is not necessarily blonde. It's more of a silvery blonde.
Yeah.
So it gives the impression that he might be a Targaryen. However, I'm going to say no, too. Just because you could make the argument, like him having an affinity for dragons, like is just a foreshadowing of his future relationship with Khaleesi or with Daenerys. And a third dragon on the show, I don't think it's going to happen. Especially
since we lost the third dragon already.
Exactly, and that's what I meant. Even if this happens in the books, I'm not sure we're going to get one because the whole idea was there's going to be 3 Targaryens. They're going to ride the 3 dragons. They're going to defeat, the dead and then take over the Iron Throne, and then all will be happy. And if one of them dies, I don't see there being a third one.
Yeah, I think Young Griff dies in the books.
Yeah.
Whether or not he is a Targaryen or Blackfire anyway, I think it doesn't matter. I think he dies.
Yeah.
At some point. So no, I don't think I don't think we see another one. I think the 2 that we have, like I said, other than Varys, like maybe being a Blackfire, I don't see another one coming out.
Yeah, I don't either.
Until maybe the child of Daenerys and Jon.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that one.
That doesn't count.
No. Who will kill Cersei? For anyone listening, if you think it's someone other than the younger Lannister siblings, I can't talk to you because you clearly don't read the books and you don't understand it.
So prophecy means something.
Yes.
I will go Jaime because I don't know if Tyrion could get that close. Like, I don't know what situation present itself that Tyrion could do it.
Yeah, I was just about to say the same thing. And I agree. I think it's going to be Jaime. It's been way too obvious that it's going to be Tyrion. I mean, Cersei even thinks it's going to be Tyrion that kills her or tries to kill her. And that's just way too obvious. And for the longest time, I thought it was going to be Tyrion, but just because it was poetic justice, because she was horrible to him his whole life. But just the more I think about it, the more I'm like, Jaime's also the younger brother. Why wouldn't he? I could easily see it. And since then, I think the show has even hinted at it, that he's going to be the one to do it because, like you said, he is the only one that Cersei listens to. And I could see a scenario where, like, they're knocking on the door of King's Landing with the army of the dead behind them, saying, "Let me in." She won't do it, but Jaime comes around and says, "Hey, let us in," and she'll do it. Then he'll kill her in the process.
Maybe, yeah.
I can see that happening. I don't think it'll happen quite like that, but I think it will be Jaime that kills her. And I'll get into that when we reveal the fate of characters later. How do you think Jon Snow and Daenerys will react to finding out they're related? So, it's pretty much been revealed that this is going to happen. They're going to find out the truth. So how do you think they're going to react?
Confusion. Surprise, I think. I mean, that's human. Human nature,
Yeah.
I think they'll be kind of okay with it. Because they are so, like, mission focused, kind of. Like, okay, that is a fact. We'll deal with that later. Like, I think that's kind of more of will be like, because like I said, I think they found that out early in the season, like before the battle, before a lot of big things go down.
So do you think they're going to find out together, or is Jon going to have to tell her, or somebody else going to have to tell her?
That I don't know. I do think Jon finds out before her.
I think so too.
I don't know if they find out like together.
And we talked about this a little bit. I think it was in the episode I wasn't able to post, but I could see some sort of scenario where it's like an elephant in the room where Jon knows but doesn't want to tell her. Dany's pregnant but doesn't know how to tell Jon, and it's just kind of like, oh my god, they have an incestual being inside them.
Knows, but the characters don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that happening. But for a while, I thought this might be what does Daenerys in. Like, she's going to go crazy. Because I think the show hinted at that last season. Like, she went from being a very reasonable person to this past season. she got a little too ruthless for me. Like, it wasn't the same Daenerys.
Go, little Mad Queen. Like,
Yeah.
Like, there was, burning of the burning of the Tarleys, like, not listening to Tyrion and flying north. Like, she did go a little Mad Queenish, like, little scorched earth. Like, she did a little bit of that.
A little bit. And I think it's hinting at that.
I think it's hinting that is possible with her. I think she will kind of bounce back from that because her overwhelmingly, her personality is overwhelmingly different from what we know of Viserys and the Mad King and some other Targaryens. So I think there will be some redemption to be had. But I don't know if, like you said, that may kind of throw her to her lowest point. And, because her, like I said, she's kind of mission focused. And, well, yes, right now it's stopping the Night King, but she wants her throne. Like, she has, and that's been her mission since the beginning.
And she hasn't really dealt with someone who is also a threat to her getting that throne, and it's Jon. Not only that, but Jon is the rightful heir.
Jon is, legitimately the rightful heir. So I don't know. That will be that may be like politically, that may be the biggest storyline of next season.
I think so too.
How those two deal with the revelation that Dany is not the rightful heir anymore. Like, Jon is, by law, by Westerosi law, the rightful heir to the throne. In terms of the Targaryen dynasty. Or dynasty. I'm sorry. That was the...
Dynasty, that's what the Brits say.
That's what the Brits say.
What will happen in King's Landing after the Battle of Winterfell?
I think Jaime makes it out and makes it back to King's Landing.
Do you think he is allowed to join the Lannisters when it's all said and done? Like, when the dead are defeated, do you think he's allowed to go back to the Lannisters? I don't see how he can.
So I do.
Okay, go ahead.
And that kind of gets into what I think of what we'll get into with the fate of the characters. So I may kind of leave that to that, but somebody has to keep the house going. And Tyrion won't. I'll get into that with the fate of the characters as well. So I think Jaime becomes the Lord of Casterly Rock. And, makes it through everything. And after Cersei's death, which is obviously coming. That's obvious. I think that so I don't know if the living in terms of Jon and Dany are pushed all the way back to King's Landing.
I think they will be.
You think they will be?
Yeah. I think they're going to flee to Dragonstone.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
You want to just move on?
Yeah, because, they get pushed back to King's Landing. Does Cersei see the army that are marching on King's Landing?
Well, and that's why I think they go to Dragonstone.
Oh, shit.
They go to Dragonstone. The dead are marching. Gives them a little bit of time to warn King's Landing. And I think this is how you get into Jaime maybe being snuck into King's Landing, meet up with Cersei, kill her, kind of like a Trojan horse scenario.
Yeah.
And then lets them enter King's Landing so they can prepare for, another battle. Maybe.
Okay.
But that's the general gist, I think, is what's going to happen. They're going to camp out in Dragonstone, wait it out.
So I saw a super interesting theory. I think it was today or yesterday.
Well, I mean, I think they're going to be camped out at Dragonstone regardless. I mean, even if they win at Winterfell, they're going to Dragonstone to regroup.
Okay. So, Sir Arthur Dayne.
Okay.
It was a the morning. Follow me here. I'm going to take you on a bit of a journey.
All right. Take me on a bit of a journey.
Sir Arthur Dayne is the Sword of the Morning. His House Dayne.
Yes. Ashara Dayne, very tragic.
Yeah. Their ancestral seat is Starfall.
Okay.
The sword is Dawn, Star, whatever.
Ned Stark delivered it before he left for Winterfell with Jon.
Correct. Yes. So there's a theory that in the Long Night, the White Walkers pushed all the way down to Starfall, which is south of most everything. It's in Dorne.
Yeah. I know roughly where it is. It's not the Panhandle. It's in the mountainous area.
Where, out where Sunspear is and all that, but it's kind of over in the mainland a little bit. But
Toward the Tower
fear
of
is
Joy.
that it's called Starfall because that is where the Night King fell. And the Night King, this kind of ties into the theory that Night King was a Stark. So that's where the Stark fell. Kind of turned into Starfall. Things like so I don't know if history will repeat itself where the Night King will push that far south. But that was something interesting that I saw.
That's very interesting.
That was an interesting theory for sure.
That is a very interesting theory. I kind of like that theory.
I did too. Like it caught my eye.
I don't see that happening again, but I do see.
Like I said, like history. I don't know if history repeats itself.
No, but I think they march south. I can't see the dead being done with after just 3 episodes of this season.
At Winterfell, yeah. I agree. Like I said, I think they at least make it to like Greywater Watch.
I think they hightail it out of there on dragons. And I'll even go ahead on record and say I think Winterfell gets destroyed.
I mean, like that would be the logical possibility if the Army of the Dead wins that battle, obviously.
And I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
But it'll be
if that's how it goes, absolutely.
It'll be repairable, but it will be destroyed.
Yeah.
We kind of just talked about this. How will the living defeat the White Walkers and the Night King? If it's not a square, a showdown between Jon and the Night King at some point, I'm going to be very disappointed.
So I think that's like the Tolkien Lord of the Rings ending, where Jon and the Night King face off. Jon beats him in single combat, and then they've kind of teased that if you kill the Night King, who turned all of those people, that the rest will just crumble. I don't see that happening.
Ooh.
So in Westerosi lore, the Night King and the others were not totally defeated.
Mm-hmm.
They were just driven back to the lands of Always Winter. And I don't know if I see like a truce being made or something like that. But I don't think the Army of the Dead is 100% totally defeated. I'll say that.
I'm going to respectfully disagree.
Okay.
Because it is prophesized, and this is a good segue, that the prince that was promised will bring the dawn.
Mm-hmm.
And the dawn is the land of always summer. Not the land of always summer, but the age of always summer, I believe is what it's called. Basically, it's like the not the afterlife, but like, when all the evil
it's how the world operates without a winter.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just going to be summer till the end of time or whatever, forever, So, it's like the kingdom of Christ, when Satan is defeated, the kingdom just goes on in this paradise, and I think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah. I could, that's, I think there's two, logical endings to it. I think that's one, good defeats evil.
Well, don't get me wrong, there will be some bittersweet to it. George has already said that.
Sure, for sure. So, I think that's the logical, like I said, the Tolkien-ish, they defeat Sauron or whatever. I wasn't a huge Tolkien guy, but, that's that possibility. And then there's the other possibility where I don't know if the possibility that history repeats itself, where the others aren't others. That's book term. The White Walkers aren't totally defeated, and they're just a truce is reached, or they're just pushed back to the lands of always winter, and they come back again.
It could be like you said, history always repeats itself, where the same thing happens again, and they're going to come again one day. It's just this endless strife between, I could see that happening. I mean, that's kind of how I read the series The Dark Tower, and that's pretty much how The Dark Tower ends. Is, if you haven't read it, the main character gets to this, what he's been looking for so long, this Dark Tower, which is like the key to the universe.
Right.
And he goes in the tower, and it actually sends him back in time to the beginning of his journey. And that basically is saying, his whole purpose in life is to defend the tower. Journey to the tower, defend the tower, then the tower sends him back. He's caught in a time loop, like Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I can see that, not a time loop necessarily, but where eventually the White Walkers will come again, and they have to defeat them. But I don't think that's going to happen.
That's kind of how Thrones is too. You could see I could see either of those situations playing out. You don't know. You just don't know for sure. And there's logically those two situations could 100% play out, and it'll just be super interesting to watch.
All right, who is Azor Ahai, and the prince that was promised? You think it's the same character?
So yeah, we talked about this. I think it's the same person.
Who?
Jon Snow. Yeah. I think it's Jon Snow, or Aegon Targaryen. It makes the most sense. He I think is the.
I mean, you think about it now, it's way too obvious now. But when you think about the book, or the books, in general from the beginning, no one saw this coming. No,
for sure.
Yeah, no one saw Jon being this important character, and he is the key to it all. I mean, he is the living embodiment of Ice and Fire. The Song of Ice and Fire.
Right.
Is not only about him. It's about him and his relationship with Daenerys too, and then obviously dragons and White Walkers, all that nonsense. But it's him. He is the Song of Ice and Fire. He is Ice and Fire.
Yeah. And I mean, I was, for the longest time, I was under the impression that it wasn't Jon. And I was trying to make an argument for Dany, there was a hot second there that I tried to make the argument for Jaime.
Oh, come on, man. Don't be absurd.
Yeah, but
I think you texted me one time saying Jorah is the prince that was promised.
Yeah. I watched one theory video where it's Jorah's Azor Ahai, and then I was like, oh, that's stupid as hell.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, at some point, there's going to be logic is going to win out in this story, and John, from the beginning, has been the main character. You spend probably the most time you spend with John and Danny.
Yep. And that's very obvious.
Yeah, and the book's moving forward.
I mean, after the first 4 books, in the 5th book, like, those two are the center.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's when it, like I said it before, that's when it stops being a Game of Thrones and becomes a Song of Ice and Fire, is that 5th book.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So here is, I'm with you. I think it's John. It's all signs pointing to John at this point, even though it's really easy to say that. But like I said, if you think 5 years ago, 6 years ago, no one would have said that.
Yeah.
Unless you were a book reader. But here's my idea as to how I think it could be 4 different people. So, John, I think, is the prince that was promised. That's pretty clear at this point. The prince that was promised will be from the Mad King's line. I don't know if that's 100% known, but someone has made that prediction. I think it was like a
it's Rhaegar.
Well, someone was someone I think told the Mad King that too.
Yeah.
I don't remember who, but yeah, it was something like that.
Him, and then Rhaegar was like super into that whole thing.
Yeah, Rhaegar thought he was it, and
but then he figured out that it was one of his children. Yeah.
Yes, and he thought it was Aegon, the first Aegon, but it is from the Mad King's line. Daenerys is way too obvious. Just for 7 seasons, it's built up to where Daenerys was going to get her family throne back. Spoiler alert, I don't think that's going to happen. I'll go ahead and say that right now. But I think it's Jon, the prince that was promised. I could see Daenerys being more of the Azor Ahai.
Mm-hmm.
It works out better, though, if it's Daenerys, because the prince that was promised basically what's the right word? Says that they're going to serve. I think it's safe to say they're going to serve as king and bring the dawn. You know.
Yeah, and Azor Ahai
is more of a soldier.
Remembering correctly, is Azor Ahai wakes dragons from stone. They were born beneath a.
That's true. That is true.
Like that. Like there's like a lot. So Azor Ahai specifically, there's a lot of very specific things that. That Danny, like, there's specific boxes that Danny checks off.
You're 100% right. I've totally forgot about that. Yeah. So yeah, Jon is definitely the prince that was promised. Danny is Azor Ahai. And even though I think for the longest time I thought it was the opposite, I thought Danny was the prince that was promised. I thought Jon was Azor Ahai. Mm-hmm. But now I have reversed those two. But yeah, like you said, wake dragons from stone. I believe it was Illyria Mopatis in the first season that said something about the dragons have been turned to stone, but they'll always be beautiful. And she wakes them up.
Exactly.
And I believe there's something about born beneath a bleeding star. That might be the prince that was promised.
That's what I was thinking.
That might be the prince that was promised, but that's also Jon.
Amidst salt and smoke.
Again, that falls under Daenerys because of the Khal Drogo pyre.
Yes.
Okay, so then those are mine, and then the last hero, I think, could be Bran. He's a Stark.
Yeah.
I can see it.
I can see that.
And then the Stallion that mounts the world, I think, could be Jon and Daenerys' child. When he comes into power, he unites the whole world. I'm assuming it's going to be a son.
Yeah. Yeah, because
the Dosh Colleen said Daenerys will give birth to the Stallion who mounts the world.
Yes.
But they could have been wrong that it wasn't Khal Drogo's child, but it's going to be Jon Snow's child.
Yeah, I totally see that. Because she has the entire Dothraki. She has the entire Dothraki race right now. Yep. I mean, like, she killed all of the Khals. She has every Dothraki that is alive. I mean, with her right now. So I could totally see that. Absolutely.
All right. Character fates. I'm not going to start this off with the important characters. I'm going to change my mind and start to the lesser characters.
I may even go say let's go bottom to top. But
yeah, I'm going bottom to top.
Yeah.
Harry Strickland.
Dead as hell.
Yeah, he's going to die. I couldn't tell you who, but he's going to die. I'll say like Jamie kills him.
Jamie, yeah. I would say Jamie or Jorah, maybe. Like one of the people who fight for John and Danny, like super important people.
Yeah.
Will kill Harry Strickland.
Yep.
Yeah.
Qyburn.
Dead as hell.
Don't know who. Probably Jamie again, because I don't see him leaving Cersei's side.
I could see it being like dragon death. Like he's just kind of caught in the crossfire of the dragons, kind of going nuts.
Famous one, Gregor Clegane, the Mountain.
Dead as hell.
Killed by
Sandor
Clegane, absolutely.
Killed by them.
Or could they kill each other?
We'll get there.
Melisandre.
Dead.
By who?
So I don't.
I'm gonna say.
You think it's Arya?
I'm gonna say Arya.
It's Arya.
Arya hated her. Arya hated her, and she even prophesized that they'll meet again. And she looked scared when she said it.
She's on her list, so Arya would probably be the best choice.
Could be Davos too, but I'm gonna say Arya.
Yeah, could be like Beric, maybe.
Maybe.
Like I can see Beric, but Arya would be like the best choice.
I think it's gonna be Arya. Dolorous Ed Tollett.
Dolorous Ed.
Dead?
Dead as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be
killed by the Night King.
Yeah, I'm gonna say dies at Winterfell by Whites or something.
Whites, yeah, the Army of the Dead.
Yeah, Tormund Giantsbane
lives.
Ooh.
I have full faith in Tormund Giantsbane.
I actually am gonna. Now you say it, I'm gonna agree with you. Because
good at killing people.
He's not that important. He's not like Jon or Daenerys, where he's crucial to the plot. So if you were gonna kill him, why not just kill him by now? Because he's not the leader of the Free Folk. He kind of is. He's more of the emissary between Jon and the Free Folk.
Yeah, he's the ceremonial leader of the Free Folk.
Yeah.
Like he's the face of the Free Folk, I guess.
But I think he could live and, like have a seat, or a castle in the what are they called? Brandon's Gift.
In the Gift, yeah.
Like somewhere in the Gift. Because I think it's safe to say the Night's Watch won't be around anymore.
Give him a castle on the wall.
Yeah,
I mean, like that could be something too. I think Tormund lives.
Ooh, Castle Black.
I don't know if it's Castle Black. I wouldn't go quite that far, but
I don't think the Night's Watch is going to be around.
Oh, I don't either. But
Beric Dondarrion.
Dead.
Yeah, he's already dead in the books. So he's taking John Connington's plot line, in my opinion, to some extent.
Nah, a little bit. Jorah kind of took some as well.
Oh, yeah, he took the most, or the majority, but Beric Dondarrion a little bit. But yeah, I think he's dead, probably at Winterfell. I mean, he doesn't really serve a purpose anymore.
Probably Winterfell.
Missandei.
I think she lives.
Yeah, I don't see a scenario. I don't see how she could die. She's not a soldier.
Her being in harm's way.
Yeah,
all that much.
I agree.
Like obviously she'll be in harm's way by proxy of just being with Danny.
Yeah.
But unless things just go sideways, then I don't see her being.
I see her being a tremendous help to Daenerys' and Jon's child.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that.
And uniting the world because she speaks so many languages.
Yep. So yeah, I think she lives.
Grey Worm.
This is one I had trouble with because he's such a good warrior. I do think he dies.
I do too.
I don't. That's like one I would hate to see.
Yeah.
I love Grey Worm as a character.
But he's on the battlefield at Winterfell. I don't see if you're on the battlefield at Winterfell. I don't see you surviving.
Like he's front lines. I don't think he makes it.
And he's cheated death once already.
Yes.
I'm gonna say this guy a little bit later, but here I'm gonna say Little Sam.
I think he lives.
Yeah, I'm gonna say he lives too.
I think he lives.
Gilly.
I think she lives too.
Yeah. Again, like Missandei, she's never in harm's way.
It's not really in harm's way all that much. Somebody has to make it. So why not Salmon?
I'm going a little out of order here, but Euron Greyjoy.
Dead.
Yeah,
That's
dead.
fine.
I'm going to get into the Greyjoys now, as a matter of fact. And these two especially. Theon and Yara Greyjoy.
Yara, dead. Theon lives.
I think the Greyjoy line is wiped out. I think they all die.
Think they all die?
I think Theon...
I could see that. So, like, I could see... I mean, Euron... And, again, I'm getting... Euron has kind of taken Victarion's plot and his plot and kind of meshed it together in the books. From the books, I mean. And spoiler alert, I think Victarion dies in the books.
I think Theon and Yara kind of took Victarion's plotline.
A little bit, because, I mean, like, Victarion in the end of Book 5 was going to Meereen. I think
Euron is pretty much doing what Euron's going to do in the books. He's going to side with Cersei. I think Victarion's going to side with Daenerys. And then Theon and Yara, whatever you want to call her, are going to side with Jon. But, so Theon,
yeah.
I think Theon...
The Greyjoys in the book are I love the Greyjoy plots in the books.
It's actually very interesting. Yeah.
It's super interesting, and people hate it. I don't know why.
No, I like it, yeah.
I love the Greyjoy plot in the books. But yeah, I think we've spent too much time with Theon molding him to the character he is now in the show to kill him off. Although, like, I understand that this is Game of Thrones, and that does happen.
I can't stand Theon Greyjoy. Tyrion doesn't really like Tyrion. I can't stand Theon Greyjoy. Like, that's my character. I will never forgive him.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think he gets a little bit of redemption.
Yeah.
He already has to some extent. I think Theon dies somewhat early in the process this season.
Kind of valiantly, like...
Season 7 ended with him about to go to King's Landing to rescue his sister, Yara. And I think the first episode is going to end with that. Maybe the second. But yeah. I think it's going to end with that, and I think Euron's going to be the one to kill them both. And then someone will kill Euron later.
Okay, I can see that.
But, like, Theon, I think, will get... Yara might survive, but I think Theon will get some sort of a hero's death of sorts.
Well, it will be one or the other.
Yeah.
It will be either Theon or Yara. Like, I think one dies saving the other.
Yeah.
And Euron dies.
Yeah, I could see one of them living. I'll go ahead and say all of them die and all the Greyjoys are just wiped out.
Okay.
Don't
forget Aaron Damphair.
What's that?
Don't forget Aaron Damphair.
He's not important. Okay, I think I'm pretty much at the big character, so I'll go ahead and say this character's name. Podrick Payne.
He has to live.
We gotta know what happened with the whores.
I need to know what happened, Payne. Like, my God, I need to know what he did to those whores.
Okay, so here's what I want to happen to Podrick Payne.
No joke. That may be the biggest mystery that I need to know.
What did he do to the whores?
What did he do to those?
So this is what I was going to say. What I would love to happen with Podrick Payne. So, we talked about this a little bit. The night before the Battle at Winterfell, I could see almost like a giant orgy. And just everyone fucking each other. Or, not everyone, but some, they're going to have a partner. I think, and just have a night of passion. Like Jon and Daenerys. Missandei and Grey Worm, maybe even Brienne and Jaime. Gendry and Arya.
Yeah.
Podrick and Sansa is one I'm rooting for because Sansa grew and I have a point here. Sansa grew up believing in heroes, and good knights and all that nonsense. And the more she's grown, she's realized that's not true. How fitting would it be if she got a good knight at her side finally after marrying or almost marrying Joffrey, marrying Ramsay? If she got a good knight by her side, and what other good knight is there than Podrick Payne right now? Plus, he knows how to fuck, and he could give it to her really well.
And
that's what I'm hoping for.
He's learned from very honorable people.
Yes.
Like he's
was very clumsy, but he's very lovable. I love Podrick Payne.
So you said that earlier, and I paraphrase here, that the best casting job or acting job was Jerome Flynn as Bronn. I actually disagree. I think it's the guy that plays.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
Daniel something or other. Portman, maybe. I think it's the guy that plays Podrick Payne because he's such a minor character, but has such a profound impact on major characters.
That's true.
So I love Podrick as a character.
Yeah.
Like
you said,
100%.
A good point. He's learned from the best. He's learned.
And he's from a, not like a major house.
No, but it's a respectable house.
It's a respected house. I'd totally be okay with that.
I would love to see it happen because I think Sansa deserves it, and there's no better guy out there than Podrick Payne right now. I could see him or her just taking him into her quarters and just them boning the shit out of each other. However,
just get nuts.
I'd love to see like a.
I'm trying to think
of an example.
Like the fairy tale ending would be Tyrion and Sansa.
Yeah, I don't see that happening.
But I don't see that happening.
No. But the idea that I had was, I'm trying to think of a good example, but like a romance that blossoms very shortly, and then that one person dies, and it's kind of heartbreaking. This is what I think what I would like to see happen. I don't think it's gonna happen, but what I would like to see happen. But I do think Podrick Payne, he's on the front lines at Winterfell. He's gonna die.
Yeah, I think he dies too.
Yeah, unfortunate.
I hate it, but
where was I? Okay, here we go. I believe, did I say Sam and I did say Little Sam and Gilly.
Sam and Gilly, yeah.
Okay, so now I think we're getting into the major characters. Gendry.
Yep. Gendry lives and is the Lord of Storm's End.
I 100% agree. I need a Baratheon in Storm's End. I think at the end of when it's all said and done, he will be named Gendry Baratheon, Lord of Storm's End.
So I'm of the thinking that obviously besides the Martells and the Tyrells, the major houses in Westeros, there will be one representative from each that will be able to continue the line.
I agree. Stark, Targaryen, Baratheon, Lannister.
Baratheon, Targaryen, Lannister.
Baratheons could also be Wardens of the South. The new Wardens of the South.
They could be. Tully. I think you have to.
I would like to see Tully's rebound.
I think you have to see Tully in there because...
Edward Tully's... I don't have him on the list. I forgot about him. He's supposed to appear this season.
Just because I think that multiple Starks do survive, and they have Stark and Tully blood, obviously. Those major houses... House Aaron is another one, but Robin
Aaron is still alive. Okay, yeah, but
I don't see him playing a major part in this.
No, and here's where I think Podrick Payne could come in is because in the book Sansa Stark is supposed to marry I think like the next in line to the Veil of Aaron after Robin Aaron. We haven't met.
She is supposed to marry.
I forget his name, but it's like the next in line for the Veil.
It's Robert Aaron.
Well, I'm sorry, Robert is his name, but it's the next guy after him.
He changes to Robin in the show.
Yeah. But it's the next guy after him. I can't remember his name, but it's that guy.
Whomever it is.
Yeah. And he's obviously not in the show. We haven't met him yet in the books. I'm hoping he's a good guy. I think he will be a good guy.
We'll see.
A nice guy, and I think this is where you could work in Podrick Payne a little bit and just, slay Sansa the night before the dead come.
And, like, maybe he's given, like, House Payne. I
think he dies, but...
As a respected, like, if he lives, respected house is given Wardens of the Vale.
I'll get into that a little bit with another character.
Okay.
But where was I going with this? Who were we talking about? Gendry.
Gendry. Yeah.
I could see him being... So I think we're both rooting for Gendry and Arya to hook up.
Yep.
Do you think it's going to happen?
I think it will. I don't know if it will be...
I doubt they show it.
A lasting relationship?
No, I don't either. I could see them, like, him wanting something more and her being like, no, I'm good. And just going on her way. Yeah. And then he's left heartbroken, but he has Storm's End.
But, like, yeah, he's
like, that could be the new Lyanna and Robert.
He's legit the only person left with Baratheon blood.
Yeah.
I mean,
I could see, like I just said, I could see that being like the new Lyanna Robert relationship.
Yeah.
Where he's left heartbroken and he marries maybe someone who maybe he likes but doesn't love like he did Arya. That's what I'm rooting for.
Okay, I can see that for sure.
Because I mean, if he gets a lordship, like Arya won't do that. That's not her, As she said,
she's not a lady.
No.
Like, no.
Varys
will die.
Yes.
That's been foreshadowed. He will die in the Strange Country.
Yeah, and I don't know to what capacity, but yeah, that was foreshadowed by Melisandre.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no one really out there that distrusts Varys. He's a fairly trustworthy guy, but he will do anything to protect himself. But he has a morality to him, unlike Littlefinger. Or a humanity to him, I guess is the right word.
Like, I could see him making a wrong move and pissing off Dany enough to...
I agree there.
Warrant him being executed.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say death by dragonfire.
Yeah.
And it might be an irony if you're right that he could be a Blackfire. It's ironic that he was dead by his own family.
Yeah.
Of sorts. Bronn.
If Bronn dies, I riot. Like I was a Walking Dead fan for a hot minute, and there was that whole thing of if whatever his name is that I've lost now since I haven't watched The Walking Dead in
I've
forever.
Never seen it.
If
it's a Game of Thrones wannabe.
Daryl dies. Daryl Dixon. If Daryl dies, we riot. Like, if Bronn dies, I make a scene.
Well, how about this? Do you think he's at Winterfell?
Bronn deserves a damn castle. Boy, I don't know.
Well, he was with Podrick.
I think he
Podrick's
turns
at
up in a battle on that side. I think he turns up on the side with Jaime and Tyrion. And
I said this to Chaz, because Chaz thinks he's at Winterfell, and I don't think he's not at Winterfell. But Bronn has always done something that is in his best interest. It's not necessarily something he wants to do necessarily. I think he does have a morality to him, and he does want to help people. Yeah. But he always does do stuff where it benefits him the most. So I think he will stick behind in King's Landing because he knows if they win, like either way, like if they lose to the dead, he's dead.
He's gonna die. Yeah.
If they win, and Cersei knows that they betrayed them, if he betrayed her, he'll be dead, likely. So he'll probably just play the odds and stick with the Lannisters. I don't think he'll want to, but he'll have some sort of redemption where, like, I could see him being the one that sneaks Jaime in.
Yeah.
However, so I mentioned a character who was going to get something big. I think it's going to be Bronn.
Okay. You think Bronn gets the veil?
No. I think Bronn gets Casterly Rock.
Casterly Rock? Okay. So that's where you and I differ. I think Bronn lives.
Yeah.
And I think Bronn gets the veil.
I could see it. I think he's gonna get his castle.
Because that, and I don't know exactly how this will happen. Like maybe Robin dies being an idiot or whatever the case may be. Because I think Jaime gets Casterly Rock. I think.
But that's not Jaime's life. That's not Jaime. Like that's not like he's the male version of Arya almost.
It's not at all. But there will need to be a Lannister that can take it, and I don't think Tyrion is going to be that person.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Tyrion either. I don't think it's going to be Cersei.
Are the only two that are going to have multiple people survive. So, spoiler alert, I think Jaime and Tyrion both make it through. Yeah. So, I do think Jaime becomes the Lord of Casterly Rock and the Warden of the West.
So you think he finally steps up and assumes his place?
I think he finally steps up. Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that's impossible. I don't think it's going to happen. Just because that just doesn't fit his character. I could see him. I'll say this. I could see him being offered it.
Yeah.
And him being like, nope, Bronn, my man, I promised you a castle for years. I'm giving it to you.
And you can give him. Okay. I could see that for sure. But there is going to be some castles, like major, like there's already Highgarden and Sunspear.
Hornhill,
but Highgarden and Sunspear are like warden seats, warden of the Reach and warden of Dorne, in those two seats that are available right now. So.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to take those. I think
I don't. Yeah, like I don't.
Someone might, but I don't think it's not going to be
and Bronn's story started in the Vale.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I think that like coming full circle, I could totally see the castle that Bronn inherits or is given by whomever sits on the Iron Throne at the end, whether it be Jon or Dany or Jon and Dany's kid or Tyrion in place, whomever it is. I could totally see them saying giving Bronn the veil. I
don't hate that. I think we're in agreement. Bronn's going to get something. And I think we might even both think, like, we split 50-50, it's going to be Casterly Rock or the Veil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, too. We're on the same page.
Sure. It'll be important in the future of Westeros.
I think so, too. But I'll get into what I think with Jaime is going to happen a little bit later.
Yeah, we'll get into the Lannisters in a minute.
Yeah, but it's not his character. It doesn't fit his character. He's never wanted Casterly Rock. He's never wanted, a lordship.
You're right.
I know.
Like, it's, but like I said, I think somebody has to take it. And
that's true.
I think family means a lot to Jaime.
It does.
Or more than it means to Cersei. And at the end of the day,
I didn't mention this. We'll talk about this a little bit later. I forgot about their kid.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Next up, Sandor Clegane.
So we kind of teased this with Gregor. I think he wins. Like I said, I think he wins Clegane Bowl. but I don't see Sandor making it.
I don't either. I am in agreement with you there. I thought for a while, like, because I forgot about Clegane Bowl, I thought he was going to die at Winterfell.
Here's the thing. The only thing I could see happening, and I'm sorry to cut you off. House Clegane is kind of on the border of the Westerlands and the Reach.
Mm-hmm.
If he makes it, does he get Highgarden? I mean, does House Clegane get Highgarden?
House Clegane has their own seat.
I don't see. That's true, but like I don't see him being I'm going to settle down and have a bunch of kids.
Yeah, I don't see that either. Like, that's another house I think that's going to be wiped out.
So
there's going to be quite a few houses that are wiped out.
I agree. So, yeah, I think Sandor dies in a super heroic way, whether it be like saving Arya or like facing his fears in terms of fire or whatever.
And I think the trailer already teased at that a little bit. If you look at the trailer, there's a shot of him hiding behind a wall with fire behind him, and he looks afraid, and then like he pans his head and like he gains like courage. So I don't know what that entails, but like I could see that happening. Whatever it is, like whatever it's saving somebody or like someone yelling at him like we're getting the F out of here, hop on a dragon, let's get out of here. And he does. But yeah, I think he survives the Battle of Winterfell, but maybe like dies killing his brother. I don't see House Clegane making it.
Yeah, I don't see them making it all the way through.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think that it will be like the duality of them killing each other type, but
do you think someone will kill him?
I think Sandor will kill Gregor.
Well, right, but I meant, did you mean you think someone's going to kill Sandor, or you think they're going to kill each other?
I don't think they'll kill each other.
Okay.
I think somebody will kill Sandor. I think he may be like the biggest name to die in the Battle of Winterfell.
Well, how can they kill each other then? Or how can he kill his brother?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
I don't think he'll die at Winterfell. There are going to be other, I think, bigger names that are going to die at Winterfell.
Which, I mean, I think the next one to go into may be one of them, but...
Yes, so Jorah Mormont, I'm going to go ahead and say, I already teased it. Well, I'll go ahead and say with Sandor, I think him and his brother kill each other in a Clegane Bowl. And House Clegane is wiped out. Okay, so moving on.
And, like, that's I could totally see that. Like, it being kind of a mirror of the trial by combat where Greg died first. Yeah, I mean, like, but it being for real this time. Like, they're both dead.
Yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, that was it.
Okay. So we teased it just now, but major characters that I think are gonna die at Winterfell. One of them is right here. And I even hate to say it, but Jorah Mormont. Again, he's another character that's on the front lines, it looks like, at Winterfell. If you're on the front line, I don't think you're going to make it.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think Jorah does die. I think it is he, more than anybody in the battle, is killed in like a super heroic way. I mean, that's his storyline. He will give his life for Dany somehow. I don't know how it will happen, but Jorah will fight his way, will hold his own, and then at the end of the day, something will happen, and Dany will be in danger, and Jorah will give his life so Dany can escape, or, you know, whatever the case may be. Jorah will die for Dany.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
I think he is going to die, probably in a protecting Dany situation.
that's his character.
Yeah.
Like that's how he was set up. And you know, like I said, I don't think Thrones in and of itself is not a logical like story arc, but that's Jorah's character. Like that's the core of who he is. While I would love for him to make it through and to be given, to be pardoned and given Bear Island as the rightful heir.
Again, that's another one where that's not his character. He gave up Bear Island.
He gave it up. I don't think that will happen. Yeah.
Davos Seaworth.
I think he lives.
I do too.
He's said it himself. He's not a fighter. He won't be front lines.
Davos is a guy. It's getting to the point with these characters. Does the realm benefit with their survival? And Davos, I think, yes, because Davos has a strong morality to him. He's more politically savvy, I think, than people give him credit for.
Oh, absolutely.
He's in touch with the common person. He's a guy you want by your side if you're in charge. Like, you want a guy like Davos in your small council. He will give you good counsel.
I 100% agree. So that and that's if it goes the way of Jon on the throne, I think Davos is the hand of the king.
I agree completely. I could see Tyrion too, but next up,
for sure.
Next up, I could see a hand of the king.
Hey, maybe, who knows?
Samwell Tarly.
I think he lives.
I do too. We are both subscribers, or I guess that's the right word, of the Sam the storyteller theory, and I could definitely see a scenario where the final episode is from his point of view, and he's retelling kind of what happens in King's Landing.
So not only that, I think the last chapter of the 7th
100%.
is from Sam's point of view.
Absolutely. I think, honestly, I think this might be the last shot we see is Samwell Tarly. Maybe even starting to write the book.
Yeah, for sure.
You see him. Picks up a quill and paper and just starts writing.
And he writes A Song of Ice and Fire on
Absolutely, I could see that.
Yeah, 100%.
Brienne of Tarth.
I may be in the minority here, but I think Brienne of Tarth makes it.
Okay, expand on that.
She is, and I may be in the minority here, but I think she's the best swords person, I guess.
Swordswoman?
If we want to be PC here, which you and I hate. I think
she's the best swords. I like that, swords person.
Yeah, I think she's the best swords person in Westeros right now. And I think that means something. What that means for her, I don't know. Making it all the way to the end. Whether that means she is the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, or
I would love to see that happen.
For the Master of Arms at Winterfell. I don't know exactly what that would mean, but I don't know, and I can't really tell you why I think that she lives. But I think she is too skilled with a sword to be defeated. And she's wielding Valyrian steel. Like, we do have to kind of take that into account.
That's a very good point.
Like, I don't think... I think she may be the one main character that's like you and I have said, kind of on the front lines of the Battle of Winterfell that makes it out. Like, her and Jaime, I think, are the two that make it out.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about the Valyrian steel. So, for the longest time, I did think Brienne of Tarth was going to die at Winterfell. But your Valyrian steel comment is weighing on me.
Best case scenario, is she the Lady of Casterly Rock? Like,
I wouldn't go that far. I wouldn't go that far because I think that relationship is played out more in the show than it is in the books.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more something that the show is pushing. In the books, it's truly more of a really good friendship.
That is because Gwendolyn Christie does such a good job.
Yes. in the books, in my opinion, I'm sticking by this. I think Brienne and Jaime is a relationship where they've been through a lot. They obviously care about one another. Is it love? I don't think so. I could be wrong. I'm not necessarily rooting against it, but I think it's just more of a really good friendship. Maybe there is some sort of a connection there, but it's maybe like a connection you don't act on.
Right.
I'm going to stick with my original prediction. I think Brienne of Tarth dies at Winterfell.
Okay.
I don't like it because what you just said really speaks to me.
We differ here. And
I really love the idea of her being like captain of a Kingsguard or a Queensguard, master of arms at Winterfell, being the longtime protector of Sansa Stark. But the thing with Brienne is she's pretty much done everything that's been asked of her. She fulfilled her, I don't know about dream, but wish of killing Stannis Baratheon. She protected Sansa Stark. She is protecting Arya Stark. She's fulfilled her promises, and I think it would be good for her to go out, kind of like that,
So, yeah, and, like, with a lot of these characters, there's, like, two very plausible kind of avenues that they could go down. And I think those are the two most plausible, for sure. Like, but obviously, I mean, we disagree there, so.
Yeah, I could see her being, like, the queen, but Sansa's, like, Queen's Justice.
Yeah, for sure.
Bran Stark.
Bran lives.
You think Bran lives?
I think Bran lives. I mean,
I'm going to say Bran dies.
Magic will always be around in Westeros, and Bran is the source of magic right now.
That's a fair point. However,
Bran lives.
The actor who plays the Night King has said the Night King has a target, and I think it's Bran Stark.
It's Bran?
I think it's Bran. I could see a scenario where Bran stays behind at Winterfell, and the Night King kills him, while they all retreat. Like him, being like, he wants me, just leave me here.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I think Bran will die in Winterfell.
Longest time wanted to be a hero.
Yes.
Sarah, calm down. So I can see that for sure. Yeah.
Sansa Stark.
This is one I've gone back and forth on. Right now, I think I'm in the boat that Sansa dies.
Ooh.
I don't know exactly how that will happen. But I do think she dies. I'm gonna go there.
So who gets Winterfell?
Sure.
You got 3 Starks left. One is, I think we're both gonna have the same outcome with Jon. Arya doesn't want it. Bran doesn't want it.
I know, and that's the tough thing. Like, I think, like I said, I think that the houses that are left are Stark, Baratheon, Lannister, Targaryen. But, like, the problem there is that there's a bit of intermingling that I think can happen in really all 4 of those. I mean, you throw in Tully with the Starks, but I don't know. Like I said, Sansa's one I go back and forth on, like, a lot. Like, tomorrow I may think that she lives.
Yeah.
Just because there always must be a Stark in Winterfell. Like, that is, and that's more of a book thing than a show thing, but I think that means something. And Sansa over the show and the books has more identified. Like, at the beginning, she more identified with the Tully in her mother's side. As it's moved forward, she has more identified with her Stark side.
I agree.
So Sansa's one I really do go back and forth on.
All right. So you want mine?
Yeah, give me yours.
I think Sansa lives.
Okay.
Just again, she's another character that isn't in harm's way a ton. Right. However, Sophie Turner has already teased that she will participate in the battle at Winterfell.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
I'm sorry to cut you off, but the scene where Arya, Jon, and Sansa are in the crypts, I think that's a scene from that battle. I don't know exactly what that means, but
it could be a tease, not the exact scene, but a tease.
Something from that.
I can see that. But I think Sansa comes out alive. I'm cheering for her and Podrick Payne to get together. Don't think it's going to happen. But I think she will get Winterfell. That is hers by right because Bran doesn't want it. Arya doesn't want it. It's not technically Jon's.
She's the oldest.
She's the oldest. It's her. She is the heir. I think she will get what she wants, and that is Winterfell.
Yeah.
And in the process, I think she will become like a Queen Elizabeth, where no man will have me.
Right.
But again, that ruins my theory, or your theory, I guess, that there's got to be heirs, and if she doesn't have an heir, like, what are you gonna do with House Stark?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know. Sansa is one of those ones that I go back and forth on.
I'm gonna stick with the whole no man may have me. Maybe it kind of happens off the page when the story's done.
Yeah.
But in the process, I'll even say this: I think the North will be an independent kingdom again,
and
Sansa is queen in the North.
Okay, I can say that.
I don't like it, but I'm going with that.
Like I could see that playing out.
Especially the end. I don't like it,
but I could see it playing like a scenario where that plays out.
Yeah. Again, I don't like it because all of season 7 and this season is going to be about uniting, and I think there's going to be a united kingdom finally. So I'll go back on it. I'll say that she's Wardeness of the North, just because I don't see kingdoms being broken up. I do think the 7 kingdoms will finally be united as the Kingdom of Westeros, and Sansa will be Lady of Winterfell and Wardeness of the North.
Okay. I'm gonna let you talk about Arya. I gotta go pee.
Oh, me too. I don't know what I'm gonna do with Arya.
Right.
I'll have to think about this one. Arya Stark. I can't think of one for you. Arya's so tough because she's such a compelling character, and she really hasn't had a ton of interest in boys. I'll have to think about that one while Steven's on the toilet. Gosh, I don't know. You got one for Arya?
What did you say?
I haven't really come up with one. This is my wild card.
Yeah. I think Arya lives. What that means, I don't exactly know. Because she's very obviously not going to be a lady of a castle.
No.
She's not going to, as much as we want her to marry Gendry and be the Lady of Storm's End or the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms if it comes to Gendry. What I think will happen is Gendry will sit on the Iron Throne.
Don't say it.
I think Danny dies.
Don't give that away.
Damn it.
Yet. Don't give that away just yet. God damn it, Steven.
I'm the worst. But like I said, that's not Arya. So whether that means that she is
I could see her being the Master at Arms of Winterfell.
Master at Arms of Winterfell, yeah, or like a Queen's Guard or King's or Queen's Guard to the.
I wouldn't go that far. I see her. I don't know. I don't like this theory, but I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think Arya lives.
Yeah.
I think she stays at Winterfell, and she is the new Brienne to Sansa. She is her executioner, her bodyguard, her you name it.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because she's been away from home and I don't like the theory that she's going to go west of Westeros. I think that's dumb.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
I think once she's with her family, maybe at first she thought that, but when she's back with her family, she realizes how much she missed her family. And I think she will stay at Winterfell. She will survive it all. I don't like that theory, though, because I really think there's going to be some really major casualties at Winterfell. And Arya always thought might be one of them. But yeah, I'm going to say she lives. I don't like it. I'm going to say she lives. And she is the executioner bodyguard to Sansa at Winterfell.
Okay. I like the
/ Master at Arms.
North thing.
What's that?
I said I like her staying in the North.
Yeah.
It's like I like her because
other than Jon, she's the true Northerner of the Stark children.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you could make the argument for Bran.
But all the Stark children, with the exception of Jon and Arya, look like Tullys. They're Southerners for the most part. Jon and Arya are the only ones that look like Starks and act like Starks, kind of. All right. Other major characters. Jaime Lannister.
I think Jaime lives.
Okay. I am in agreement with you. I think Jaime lives, and you've already touched up on it.
Yeah. So, and you and I think disagree here. I think Jaime becomes the Lord of Casterly Rock.
Okay. I do like your idea of the major houses surviving and having heirs. I do like that idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, continue.
I think that, like I said, I think that there has to be continuance or things have to continue the way we know them. Somehow it'll be different, obviously, but the four major ones we've focused on this whole series have been Stark, Baratheon, Targaryen, Lannister. With a little bit of Tyrell thrown in there, and obviously in the books the Martells are a lot bigger.
I think. I mean, there's a reason why on the Game of Thrones logo, so to speak,
it's
there's
there's
a wolf, a lion, a dragon, and a stag.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I think those are the four main houses.
I like that. I do like that idea,
and I think that they continue somehow. Obviously, for that to happen, you think Gendry survives because he's the last Baratheon.
Yep.
A Stark or multiple Starks survive. Lannisters survive, and a Targaryen of some kind survives. I don't see Tyrion being the type of person to resign himself to being Lord of Casterly Rock.
I don't either. He's, again, I'll get into him a little bit later, but I don't either.
Yeah, I don't see. So I think it would fall to Jamie, who has a bit more of like the family pride aspect that Tywin kind of drilled into him and Cersei. So like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if, like, I think that Jamie survives and is whatever the equivalent of, in the end, the Lord of Casterly Rock, the ruler of the West, whether that be like the King of the Rock, like in the old times, or the Warden of the West, or
again, I do think it's going to be a united kingdom. I don't see kingdoms breaking up. Yeah, I think after so long, it'll be united.
Whatever the case may be, I think that he is the ruler of the West.
Yeah.
Whether that means he's the Warden, the Lord, the King.
Yeah.
Whatever the title is.
I don't hate that, but here's my theory. And honestly, this might be my favorite theory of all the major characters, is my Jaime theory. So, we are both in agreement that we think Jaime is going to kill Cersei.
Yes.
Valonqar, he's a little brother. He's going to kill her.
There's two options, and Tyrion just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Tyrion's too obvious. I think it's going to be Jaime. For the longest time, or for a while recently, I thought Jaime and Cersei were going to kill each other. I really liked the idea of a line Cersei said in the first book, or in the first season, saying, we were brought into this world together, we belong together, and my theory was they'll go out together.
Together, yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen, the more I think about it. And I'm going to revert back to an old theory of mine from 5 years ago, roughly, with Jaime. So, when he arrives at Winterfell to start this season, they're going to be skeptical. And I think it's going to be kind of like, we'll allow you to fight, but if we win, you're a prisoner. Like, because we don't trust you, because you're valuable to your sister, then the war will be against your sister and you'll be valuable. Something like that. So
I can see Dany especially being of that mindset, for sure.
So then when they're trying to get into King's Landing, I do think he will be used as some sort of a Trojan horse, and he will either be let into King's Landing, or he will be snuck into King's Landing by Bronn and kill Cersei. And then when it's done, and there's someone new has to come on the Iron Throne, I think it's supposed to be Dany. Like, they're going to try to go to Dany. But I'm going to get into that a little bit later.
Right.
And she's not going to trust Jaime. Like, she's going to be like, when it's all said and done, there's all sorts of pardons they have to give out. And maybe, like, the whole Trojan horse thing with Cersei, like, killing her wasn't the plan. And maybe, again, it'll be like, you killed my father, you killed this other monarch, we can't trust you, we're sentencing you to death. Hear me out. And then, and this is, again, one of my personal favorite theories, when it's about time for him to be executed, Tyrion breaks him out, sets him free, and it rolls along with the theory a Lannister always pays his debts.
Okay.
And then Jaime retires in Essos as like an exiled knight.
I don't hate that.
Yeah, that's my personal favorite theory for these characters.
Like, it tracks.
Yeah.
Like, it...
Maybe that's a little too, like, I don't know.
There's
mirrors.
some that are a little out there.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, Jon is a loyalty guy. And I think that Jaime fighting with him will make a difference.
But he's not in charge.
And Jon, yeah, that's true. But I don't know. I like I said, I don't hate that. I just don't see it happening. There's a couple parts of it that kind of stretch it for me.
This is one character. like some characters, like they're either gonna
We could
live,
go
like
10
they're
different
gonna die, or they're gonna do this. We've done this with a lot of characters. This is one I could see Jamie going in so many different directions.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Jamie,
the other characters are like they're gonna die or they're gonna do this. But Jamie, I'm like, he could be, he could go back to Castle Rock. He could be an exiled knight. He could die. He could, do all this different stuff. And I think that's what's interesting about him.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
All right, so Cersei, and I'm going to go ahead and add Cersei's child to this.
I mean, I think they both die.
Okay.
And I think you and I are both in agreement. They die at the hands of Jamie.
Well,
right.
So what about this? What about, again, I'm theorizing. What if, let's pretend, their child is born. Oh, no, that can't happen. She only gives birth to 3. I was going to say, what if it's born and they ship it to Casterly Rock and, like, Bronn is Lord of Casterly Rock for a while until that child comes of age. So he gets the crown and the Lannister name passes on. Not going to happen because she only gives birth to 3 children.
Yeah, I don't, because the prophecy is that she will give birth to 3. I don't see either of them making it.
I don't either. That's it? That's all you got? I thought you had more.
No, yeah. I mean, like I said, prophecy means a lot in the show. And everything that Maggie the Frog told her has come true. Whether or not you believe that a queen younger and more beautiful means Marjorie or means Dany or...
I think it's Dany.
Means Sansa. Like, there's a point that could be made for Sansa, but
she's not a queen.
Definitely Marjorie and Dany.
Yeah, everything has come, like you just said, everything has come true with with Cersei. She's given birth to 3 children, gold their shrouds. Her husband had, like, I forget how many the number. She married a king, not a prince.
Yeah.
She watched all of her kids die, so that gives me no reason to think it won't be the Valonqar that kills her. So I do think she will die, and in the process, this child, or is she lying about the child?
Is what it. So I don't think she's lying.
Okay.
So I think the line is the Valonqar will choke the life from you.
And that would be so perfect.
And I think it will be changed.
I'm gonna theorize that she loses it. It doesn't die necessarily. I think she loses.
Not like in childbirth, but
right.
Like miscarriage type situation.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Tyrion.
I think Tyrion lives.
I do too.
I think he lives as the almost de facto ruler of whatever is left. Whether that be like the regent or the hand. I think he lives.
Okay.
And makes a profound impact on whatever's left.
The Night King. Dead. I agree. Oh, I didn't give my Tyrion prediction. So I do think Tyrion will live. I don't really want to get into what I think will happen just yet, because I haven't given my Jon Snow and Daenerys predictions. But he will live. He will act on one of their small councils in a major role. That's all I'm going to say right now. Daenerys Targaryen. You just said it, but...
Yeah. I think she dies.
I do too.
I think she dies. I think she... reaches her goal in winning her father's throne back.
So you think she dies after?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think she
dies I like that.
In childbirth or in something like that.
Okay.
I think she reaches her goal, but doesn't get to keep it.
I like that.
So, yeah.
I like that.
She dies, and I don't even know if it's like on camera. I don't know if it may be more of like a Stannis Baratheon where like we know that she does die, but we don't see it because she's such a main character. And Stannis really is like is a super important character in the show. Obviously, he's not a main character, but is important in the plot, and is given kind of that off-screen death. Dany obviously is more important than that, like I said, and I think she'll be given that off-screen death.
Okay. We have similar predictions here. I do think she will die. I think it's toward the end. I think both Ice and Fire lives the battle at Winterfell. They live whatever conflict is in King's Landing with Cersei. However, I do agree. I think it's after it's all said and done, almost kind of like an aftermath. I even like your idea that she takes back her father's throne, and I think she's supposed to be the ruler. But I think there's gonna be pushback or I don't know about pushback, but I think she's gonna be jealous of how many people flock to Jon Snow.
Yeah.
This is something she has wanted her whole life, and again, I think it was hinted last season of her Mad Queen-ness, so to speak. And I think like maybe she gets the throne, but she realizes they take Jon more seriously. Maybe they realize they answer to Jon more. They respect Jon more. They think of Jon as the rightful monarchy. She gets jealous and tries to kill him.
Yeah.
Jon kills her in the end. Like kind of like a self-defense. That's something I've always kind of believed.
I don't see.
Or they kill each other. I don't know, but
the only way I see Jon killing Dany is in like a Lightbringer situation.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and so I don't know, man. Like,
yeah, her death's tough, but I'm gonna say it's gonna be some sort of self-defense. She's trying to kill him, and like he doesn't want to, but like he has no choice. You know, like she won't stop, like trying to kill him. And he has nothing to do but kill her. But it's going to be after she gives birth to their child. Yeah. Jon Snow.
Jon lives and is the king in the north.
You think he stays as king in the north?
Jon lives and is the king in the north, and the north is a independent kingdom.
Huh. I say Jon lives.
And I'll get into this with our next question.
Yeah, I'm just going to say Jon lives. That's all I'm going to say right now.
And
I think he is. I think one of the problems that might come up is they get married and the whole argument, like with the royal family, like Queen Elizabeth is the queen. She's married, but that doesn't make him the king. You know, he's Prince, whatever his name is, Philip.
Yeah.
I could see that kind of being.
Not second line.
Yeah, I could see that kind of being with Jon and Daenerys, but they treat Jon more like a king, or maybe they want Jon to be the king, and she hates the way Jon is seen and how many people have rallied to him because they think of him as like the, just a better ruler. Because I don't think people are going to flock to Daenerys. That's been kind of proven. Not proven, but like the country doesn't really back her. No one backed her until Jon backed her, and he just wants to fuck her.
So I kind of disagree there.
Okay.
Jon backs her because it is the best opportunity for him to save his people.
Right, you're right.
He is her best. She is his best opportunity and ally when it comes to saving the Northerners, which is what he's looking out for right now.
Yes.
As King of the North. he didn't want that title. He didn't want it, but he was given it by the Northern Lords.
But he's always.
I think coming off of.
He's always accepted any leadership role.
He has, but Danny has.
Where I think Danny just is expecting people to follow her.
She has taken things. She's a conqueror.
Yeah.
Like she's a conqueror, but she has made the people she has conquered come around to the way she wants to do things. She did it in Yokai. She did it in Afterlore.
Yeah, I think that's the difference between them.
Raki.
She wants them to do it her way. I think John's kind of like, look, as long as you got my back, do whatever you want.
Right.
So this kind of works into my next question here, and it's our final piece. We've been at it for quite a while. Who will sit on the Iron Throne? And you just answered this a while back.
I think Gendry sits on the Iron Throne.
I could not disagree with you more. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think, so hear me out here. Like I said, at the end of the day, I think Danny dies. Jon does not want to be king. Jon, that's never something Jon has wanted. So I think that he will honor his father's request, what his father wanted, which was to seat the next Baratheon in line. Ned was all aboard the Stannis train. He wanted to put Stannis on the throne. So the next Baratheon in line, now, with Renly dead, Stannis dead, Shireen dead, the next Baratheon in line is Gendry. He's the only one left.
I don't hate that idea. I don't.
And I make the joke that, Gendry has really good odds in the odds that we've been sending back and forth. He makes the most sense. But, to me, I don't think, obviously, in a perfect world, Jon will sit on the Iron Throne. He is the rightful heir of the Targaryen line. As much as Danny hates that. As the rightful son
hold on, I forgot to ask this. This is going to be way off topic. I forgot to ask this. Do you think the dragons survive? Drogon, Viserion, and Rhaegal. And the direwolves while you're at it.
Dragons, no. Ghost, yes.
All right.
And Nymeria. I think actually both do.
Okay. All right, but go on.
Anyway, yeah.
I'll say all of them die.
And I say that because the duality between, because I said the Night King dies, the duality between the magic of the Night Kingdom and the magic of the dragons is kind of interconnected. Mm-hmm. And so I think for one to die, the others have to die.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really do think Gendry ends up on the throne. It's not something that he wants. It's not, but it's something that will be thrust upon him. So, and to play off of that, I think that he and Arya have a child, and that child is the Lord of Storm's End. That's kind of my out there theory. But like I said, I think because of all of those things, because Jon doesn't want a throne. Jon wants a simple life. I don't think he'll have that opportunity because, like I said, I think the North. I don't see it as you do, where all of the kingdoms are united.
Okay.
I do think the North will be independent. I think
I'd like that to happen, but I don't think it will.
I think Dorne, in some way, will be independent, whether it means that like another house has kind of sprung up or something like that.
There's not really a Dornish house that's still around.
There's not many. I mean, no, you're right. There's not many, but somehow, I mean, somebody will. That's too much land for there not to be something going on.
Right.
So yeah, like I really do think, and it, like I said, from the outside looking in, it's kind of out there, but I think it makes sense. Like, I think Gendry. I think it makes the most sense, and I'm eager to hear kind of what you think, because I know you 100% disagree with me.
After hearing it, I don't hate it. I don't hate it. There's some logic there. It's not like you're just spitting something out of your ass. I don't hate it. I disagree with you. Because I do believe in the Prince That Was Promised theory. I do believe a Targaryen will sit on the Iron Throne again, and there will be a Targaryen rule.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be Daenerys.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but in Westerosi lore, the Baratheons trace their lineage to Orys Baratheon, who was the half-brother of Aegon the Conqueror. And so there is a small amount of Targaryen blood in Baratheon.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't know that, but I knew that there's some Targaryen blood in the Baratheons.
Yeah.
Okay. You're making a fair point. I still don't think it's going to be Gendry. Yeah. I'm gonna...
You're in the camp of Jon and Dany's kid, right? With Tyrion as like regent.
I'm 50-50 on it right now, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be Daenerys. That's too obvious.
Right. Like at the end, like I think we both said, I think she gets there.
Yes, I think she gets there. I think she is like the Aegon the Conqueror 2.0. She's going to be kind of a conqueror.
Right.
While also protecting the North. And she's going to conquer her throne back. The problem is, I don't think the rest of the country is going to accept her.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just don't think so. I think it's going to be... One, I don't think the Northerners will accept her. Jon might, Sansa might, Arya might. I don't think the Northerners will. They don't accept Southern rulers. And I don't think that's where I'm getting at. I don't think they'll accept one unless one of their own is by their side. That's what's going to merge the idea, is if Jon is by her side.
Right.
So I think Jon is going to marry her and be by her side. Maybe he wasn't planning to be king, but maybe she is queen for a time. But just she doesn't like the way... Or maybe like this is when Jon tells her the truth. Like maybe, like back to my theory that maybe Jon doesn't tell her. Maybe this is finally when Jon tells her. And she sees him as a threat and tries to kill him. And like maybe they kill each other. I don't know.
Another Dance of Dragons type situation.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe I can see that.
Where maybe like the dragons survive and she has Drogon and he has Rhaegal. And
yeah, I could see that.
Things go nuts.
And they just all kill each other. I don't like the idea of Jon being a single dad in King's Landing. So I'm gonna roll with my prediction that Jon dies too.
So so both die
at some point, not during
kid before that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so. Then that leaves the throne kind of wide open. And it's kind of a regent rule with Tyrion and Davos. And they raise Jon and Daenerys' kid to be the next in line. And those are probably the best two, people to groom a young king. or Prince.
Yeah, two really good father figures.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna you got the father figure in Davos. You got the I don't like that theory, but I'm gonna roll with it anyway.
It's if things go haywire, I think that's the most logical. I think that's.
And again, I don't think John's gonna.
Then
it's not like John. I don't think John necessarily wants the throne, like you said, but he's gonna accept it if called upon.
If it's given to him.
If it's given to him, he will accept.
I think he'll accept it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna drive Daenerys nuts, and she's gonna get Mad Queenish and try to kill him, and then that could be like a Dancing with Dragons type of situation, and they just kill each other.
Like I said, history repeating itself.
Yeah, and I don't like it, but I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll with it. I don't like it, but I'm gonna roll with it.
Okay.
So Jon and Daenerys. My theory: Jon and Daenerys kill each other. Their son, I'm assuming,
child of some kind.
Child is groomed to be next in line. I'm gonna assume a son is groomed to be next in line for the king, well, as Tyrion rules, because he's the best one to do it. But he doesn't sit on the Iron Throne. He never sits on the Iron Throne.
I mean, he physically sits there, but he's not, the.
Correct. I could live with that, because he says at one point, "I will never sit on the Iron Throne," but I think he meant as a king.
Right.
I could see that.
Crowned king.
Yeah, I could see that. So that happens. Davos is kind of like the right-hand man. I won't get into too much with the small council, but I'm along the same theory as you. I think Gendry gets Storm's End. Sansa finally gets Winterfell. Arya is her executioner, master at arms, whatever you want to call it. Jaime passes Casterly Rock on, or maybe Jaime runs away and is an exiled knight.
Right.
Tyrion then gives Bronn Casterly Rock.
Okay.
Cersei dies. Just about everyone else dies. Samwell Tarly gets Hornhill. I'll go ahead and say that. Samwell Tarly gets Hornhill.
I think that for sure.
Warden of the South. Warden of the South.
I don't know if Samwell isn't named Warden of the Reach.
That's what I'm saying. Warden of the South, or Lord of the Reach, like Warden of the South, or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe they move the seat of the Warden from Highgarden to Hornhill.
I can see that completely. And he lives at Hornhill with his wildling wife and their child and other children.
Yeah, they start a line together.
Yes. And then I think it ends with him writing A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
And the Night's Watch is dissolved, with the threat in the north gone.
Yeah, I agree.
Everyone else pretty much dies.
Yeah. I mean, so, let's see. I had Tormund living.
I think I did have Tormund. Yeah, I had him getting a castle in the north.
Missandei living.
I could see him being the new House Umber to Starks. Yeah. Like one of the loyal houses to the Starks in the north.
Yes, totally. Podrick, they may give him a.
And Missandei will be on the small council to some extent.
Council of somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Harry Strickland dead, Qyburn dead, The Mountain dead, Melisandre dead, Ed Tollett. What did we say with Ed? Dead?
We both said dead.
Did we? Okay, I can't remember. Tormund alive, Beric dead, Missandei alive, Grey Worm dead, Podrick Payne dead, Little Sam.
That's alive for Podrick Payne.
What's that?
I said alive.
I'm sorry, you did. I think we were pretty much even until Podrick. Yeah, Little Sam alive. Gilly alive, Gendry alive, Varys dies, Bronn lives, Euron dies. You said Yara and or Theon lives.
Oh yeah, I said one of the two lives and gets the Honor Islands.
Who do you lean towards? Yara probably?
Yeah.
Yara, okay. I could see that. I think the Hound, I think we both said dies.
Dead, yeah.
I don't think we liked either. I don't think we liked saying that.
No, yeah. I think you're right.
Jorah Mormont, we both said dead.
Davos
Seaworth lives.
lives.
Samuel Tarly lives. Brienne of Tarth. I think you said lives. I said dies.
Lives for Brienne, and you said dead.
Yeah. Bran Stark. This is where we started to differ. Bran Stark. You said lives. I said dies.
Yes.
Sansa Stark. I think you said dies. I said lives.
Right.
Arya Stark. I think we were the same with Arya.
It said live.
Okay.
For Arya. Yeah.
Jaime. We both said live.
Cersei both said dead.
Yeah. Tyrion lives. Night King lives. Daenerys dies, and then we differ with Jon a little bit.
Ish, but
yeah.
But lives through the end of the show. I
right.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't like that, but Jon, I think, deserves his death. He was cheated once from death already.
Yeah. I don't like I said, Jon is the main character.
I know.
And he, of anyone, I think deserves.
Oh, and then Cersei's child, we said dead.
Cersei's child, yeah. Of anyone, I think Jon deserves kind of what he wants.
Yes.
Which is a simple life.
I don't think he'll get a simple life. That's the point. He's either going to be a monarch or he's going to die.
The hands that he's been dealt don't allow him that. So I don't know. I don't know what that means. But I'll say this too. I think his storyline differs in the show from the books. I think it's going to be very different.
I think we agree there a little bit. I think there's definitely going to be a romance, I think, between him and Daenerys, but I'm leaning toward more of a secret romance.
Yeah.
I think we both have the same idea. I think it's honestly going to be that young Griff dude.
Because that's who they're setting up. He's going
to be promised to her, but like they have an effect. Like Jon and Daenerys have like a forbidden affection.
Yeah, and that's who they're setting up as, like, as Dany's partner. Like they're.
But yeah, I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, actually have feelings for each other. I do think there is a romance between Jon and Daenerys.
Yeah, I agree.
What about Val? That's the biggest question for me. What about Val? What's she gonna do? They've hinted at her being Jon Snow's wife a little bit.
Yeah, they have, and because I mean, and it's good for Chaz isn't here. Mance Rayder isn't dead in the books.
I think he is.
I think he's not.
You don't think he's dead yet?
He was. I think Melisandre rubied him.
No, but remember he entered Winterfell, and then Ramsay sent him the letter saying that he's dead. He might not be, but
yeah, I don't think that Mance is dead
yet.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know, because like you said, but I mean, Jon's dead in the books. Like that's the last thing we see in the 5th book is Jon dying.
Yeah, I know. No, I
so
think we both think that he'll come back from the dead, but
well, yeah, I mean, I think that will follow the show.
Yeah,
I think generally the plot lines will mirror each other.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means that but obviously, I don't know if that means they will follow exactly. Obviously, there will be differences in terms of small things and plot lines that aren't in the show that are in the books that will intermingle with different plot lines, just because there's more to kind of tie up in the books. So I don't know. I mean, obviously Val being royalty Queen Bee on the Wall. I don't know. We'll see. I'm like you and I have talked about a lot. I think I'm more excited, which is kind of weird to say. I think I'm more excited for the Winds of Winter than I am this upcoming season of Game of Thrones. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I'm just because there's more, like I said, more to be tied off in the books than there are in the show. So,
well, that'll do it for me.
Yeah, me too.
Final words on Game of Thrones. I can probably do that a little bit later when it's over, but it's starting to hit me now. It's starting to hit me now. The feels are hitting now that it's over.
What, 4 days before, like, yeah, I won't watch it like live. I have a standing basketball game, pick up league Sundays.
Oh, I'm sorry about your Auburn Tigers, by the way.
You know, things happen. I figured
that was tough. That was tough. I was like, oh my.
But I've got some strong theories and takes on that, but that we'll save that for another time, or just off air.
For real.
But it was tough. So like awesome season, like super proud of what Auburn was able to do as a program that has not had that type of success ever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you grew up in Alabama and kind of were a outsider to the way that Auburn operates, kind of as a WU guy, but you know, I think you kind of understand Auburn's a little bit different than a lot of different places in terms of like the pride and the family aspect of it. So,
100%. I've said this with people before, like Alabama and Auburn are. I mean, it's. I forget who I talked about this with, but there's no better story to tell than my first week at living in Nashville. One of my coworkers on the sports team in Nashville was married to a guy in our office, and she was an Alabama fan, he was an Auburn fan, and he actually went to Hoover. So I went over and talked with him, and he was actually like one of the first classes to graduate at Hoover. But I talked to him for a little bit, and I was like, so did you go to Auburn? And he said, yeah, I did. And his wife was right there. I was like, did you go to Alabama? And she said, no, I went to Montevallo. And I was like, okay, that's the stereotype right there. Like Auburn fans generally go to Auburn. Alabama fans generally don't. Like, that's the stereotype.
Like, that's the thing. Like Pat Dye, one of our football coaches a long time ago, well, in the 80s and 90s, said something that I think, like, really does ring true. Like, Auburn fans love Auburn. They don't love the Auburn football team. They don't love – well, we do, obviously. Like, right. We love our sports teams. But Auburn fans love Auburn University. Alabama fans love Alabama football. Or basketball or baseball or, you know, whatever.
It's football.
Whatever the sport is. Like, Alabama fans love Alabama football. Auburn fans love Auburn.
There's very rarely an Alabama fan, like our good buddy Taylor Mason, who is truly an Alabama fan at everything. You know, he cheers for them in basketball, he cheers for them in baseball, softball, you name it. He's there, he's cheering for them. He's an alum, two-time alum. Very rare do you see an Alabama fan like that. The rest of them are, you know, I'll cheer for the football team. You know, I might cheer for the baseball team or, you know, something. Maybe my son goes there, but.
Right. And, like, but, like, Auburn, that's, like, it's rare that you see somebody that just cheers for Auburn football.
Yeah.
Like, we will tear up social media talking about our gymnastics team or our softball team or the equestrian team that's going to win another national championship soon. Like, there's a line in the it's called the Auburn Creed, and it's like the core of what Auburn people are supposed to believe in. It's the last line. It says, I believe in Auburn and I love it. and I think that kind of separates Auburn from a lot of people, and that kind of shows like yes, I was disappointed. I wanted Auburn to win the national championship for sure, but over and above, I was just so proud of the way that we played, and like the way that they handled defeat. Like that was super awesome, and the way that Bruce handled it, and Bryce and Simmer Dowdy, who committed the foul, the way that it was handled was just super awesome. And it was a really proud moment of something that like I was involved with, to see kind of have that type of success.
Yeah,
and I can talk about that forever. Like
yeah, I know you can. But yeah, I wasn't. It's not that I was cheering against Auburn. That wasn't the right word. I was sick with either of the outcome because, one, I hate Virginia. Best part of the state went west, as we like to say. And then it's not so much that I hate Auburn. It's the fact that I don't want to see Auburn there because if Auburn can do it, West Virginia should do it. And I get a little bitter.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason why. I was secretly probably cheering for Auburn, but I didn't want Virginia to win, and sure enough, it happened.
Sure enough, yeah.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to say on it. I just
wanted
wanted
to pockets in both games. So.
I've been to the Final Four when West Virginia was there. It's a lot of fun.
I went to the one in Atlanta. In 2013, it was Michigan and Wichita State and Louisville.
Syracuse.
And Syracuse, yeah. And it was a lot of fun. Like, I had a lot of fun. Obviously, I didn't have a dog in the fight. It was just because
it was close.
It was home, and it's something to check off the bucket list. So.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I mean, especially when your team is there. But it just wasn't very fun for us because we got our asses kicked.
Yeah,
It was a perfect storm, though. To this day, like, if you look back at the score, you're like, man, West Virginia laid an egg. Not necessarily. Like, Duke shot like 50-something% from three, and Deshaun Butler tore his ACL, and you're just like, all right, just get it over with.
And that kind of mirrors Auburn's situation. Like, our Chuma Okeke was the best player on our team during the tournament, and he tears his ACL during the North Carolina game. We kind of come together and win the Elite Eight game against Kentucky on the back of Bryce Brown, our senior shooting guard, and Jared Harper, our junior point guard, and playing really tough, hard-nosed defense, kind of down the stretch. It's one of those situations where you think, like, with Chuma on the floor, with his skill sets as a stretch four, being able to lock down Braxton Key or DeAndre Hunter, or being able to defend Diakite, like, do we win that game going away? Like, he's a great free throw shooter. Like,
it still haunts me. Like,
it sucks.
I know it's gonna haunt you. It haunts me. Like, even when Deshaun Butler tore his ACL, we were kind of starting to get a run. We're getting in a rhythm. If Duke misses a few shots, Deshaun Butler doesn't tear his ACL, do we go on to win that game? Who knows? It's tough.
There's always like a what if in those type of situations, and you hate to dwell on that, but it's natural. Like, Deshaun Butler was the best player on that team, right?
Oh,
like no doubt about that. Chuma was the best player on our team.
Yeah.
In the tournament, we were lucky to have at different points in the season. Jared was the best player on our team. Jared Harper, Bryce Brown was the best player on our team at different points during the season. Chuma Okeke was at different points during the season the best player on our team. And he kind of carried us through certain times during the tournament. I mean, we'd won 12 games in a row going into the Final Four. Chuma Okeke had been our best player those 12 games, and was having the game of his life in the biggest stage of his life.
But that in general is just an incredible run by Auburn. They got hot in the tournament, in the SEC tournament. Then you look at who they beat to get to the Final Four. It's truly impressive. I mean, even when
and that's kind of part of how what I was saying. Like, we're disappointed. Like the Auburn family and the Auburn supporters are super disappointed. We wanted to win a championship, but the road to get there, like what we had to go through, and what how things transpired, you can't help but be proud of what like I said, what it took to get there. So it
Absolutely.
sucks. Like yes, like I was talking to a friend of mine, and he's a big Auburn fan. He's like, it was Sunday after the game. He's like, where does this rank for you in terms of Auburn losses? And I was like, this is probably number 2.
Probably that 2013 national championship, number 1.
National championship, and only because I was in the stadium for that one, and I had driven 40 hours and had to drive 42 hours back.
Yeah, we were students at that time, so yeah.
Class. So like that sucked. So it like I said, the only reason it's not number 1 is because of how proud we are as Auburn people of the road we took. I mean, I would have loved to win a championship, but there's 2 banners going up in Auburn Arena next year. We've got an SEC tournament championship. We got a Final Four banner going up, and that's something that's never happened before in Auburn history. So It's a good bet.
It was fun. I'm sure it was a fun time for you guys. It made me, I don't know about sick. Sick's not the right word. Just it was kind of like, God.
But if
they're doing this, we should be doing this.
Yep.
That's all it was. But, yeah, so back to Thrones. I could talk about this for a while. I've had you on for well over 3 hours. Almost 4 hours. Damn.
4.
Yeah, I don't have anything, man. So I'm going to let you go. We can have a recap show later. I hate Chaz missed out on everything.
I think that would be cool to. I think like a review show might be cool.
Yeah.
Like where things end up. I think it might be a cool thing.
I'd love to do a weekly recap. Just I don't know if we'll be able to, but I'd love to do a weekly recap of the episode from Sunday. I think that would be really cool.
Let's see what we can do.
All right, my man. I will let you go. Enjoy yourself. As always,
sure.
Baseball season, Thrones. It's gonna be a fun next few weeks.
Yeah, we got baseball season. The Cardinals just won a series against the Dodgers. Your Reds are playing pretty well.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
We got Marvel coming up.
I forgot about Marvel. Yeah.
I think, and we're both seeing it Thursday night, right?
I'm sacrificing the draft to go see how Endgame ends.
Yep. So,
and that's a shame because Green Bay has 2 picks.
That'll be something we can talk about for sure. So we'll get into it.
Absolutely, my man. Take care.
Hey, brother. Take it easy.